tonight under clear to partly cloudy skies. So it'll be cool and comfortable once again. The low down to 53. Another beautiful late summer day for Thursday. Mostly sunny, very nice. The high of 81. There'll be a nice breeze out of the southeast. Mainly clear, still comfortable as we head through our Thursday night. The low down to 56. We'll round out the week with a pleasant day Friday, a mix of sun and clouds, the high of 78. Friday night, mainly clear, the low down to 59. Then Saturday, a mostly cloudy day. We'll have rain at times during the afternoon. Not quite as warm, the high of 74. Sunday, chance for a bit of rain or drizzle in the morning. Otherwise, the clouds give way to some sunshine. Should be a nicer second half of the day, the high up to 74. Then a beautiful day to kick off next week on Monday, mostly sunny and pleasant, the high 74. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
All right, 78, sunshine right now in Hartford. Markets trending downward this Wednesday. The Dow off 89. NASDAQ's down 77. S&P's down 22 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. It's 3:06. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you have $10,000
Reese.
or $30,000 in debt? Then listen to this. You may not be required to pay it all back.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
Whether it's credit card, medical, or personal loan debt, National Debt Relief can help significantly reduce what you owe. In fact, debt relief payments can be 50% less than your monthly credit card payments. That's right, half as much as you're paying now.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
More than 550,000 Americans have used National Debt Relief to reduce their debt. Call 800-649-6460
10 seconds.
to see if you qualify to settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464.
This is Reese on the Radio, filling in for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Is not this simpler? Is this not your natural state? It's the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation. The bright lure of freedom diminishes your life's joy in a mad scramble for power, for identity. You were made to be ruled. In the end, you will always kneel.
You heard, Loki. You were made for subjugation. Or at least that's what the American government believes. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Welcome to your Wednesday, September the 4th, 2024. Telephone number 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. There's a little part in that when the old man gets up and he says, not to men like you. He says, there are no men like me. He goes, there are always men like you. It's something I've been talking about for the longest. Don't ever believe that we live in a society today that is in any way different than what it was like in the 1930s. Don't ever think that at some point we don't have a group of people who believe in absolute power and believe in subjugation. They all do. Many men feel that way. And some women. They believe that they know better and they do better. They should be in charge. And the rest of you should be subjected to their rule. Believe it or not. You must think that while you're running around thinking it's like, oh, we're too advanced for that. We're too highbrow for that kind of thing. Yeah, sure. Whatever happened to bake the cake, bigot? All that is a form of authoritarianism. That's all it is. But anyway, I've got plenty of stuff to get into without getting all too deep in the weeds of that. Of course, welcome to the program. I want to talk a little bit about something, about a conversation yesterday, and I think it was Jim in Wellington that called in and asked about this, and I could be wrong. If I am, please call in and correct me. But I think he was asking yesterday, he was a little nervous about where we were in this election. Are people really going to vote for Kamala Harris? If you listen to the polling data, if you watched television, as many of us do day in and day out, and watch political TV, you will be led to believe that Kamala Harris has got a fighting chance to win the whole thing. But me, I've been standing out here alone on an island telling everyone, what are you freaking out for? There's no way. Now, I know no one, look, I don't expect you to get behind me on this one. Don't get me wrong. I don't expect anyone to believe me. I haven't proven myself yet. Sure, I get a couple of things right here and there. You know, some of these things are a fish in a barrel. Right? In order for me to get your trust, I'm going to need more than just predicting a guy stepping out of the race on the exact day that he steps out of the race. I got to do better than that. I've also got to do a lot better than just telling you that there's no way that this campaign wants Kamala Harris to win, even though they're making a bunch of unforced errors that seem to defy logic in the realm of political pandering to a constituency, right? Even though we actually have a presidential candidate that we're told is loved and adored by the media and people alike, but won't do interviews with the adoring media for any reason whatsoever. That is afraid to do debates, and you're telling me that the American people are just sucking it up. I know you can't just believe me, because none of that makes sense. Not to a lowly old dummy like me. So I've got to keep proving myself day in and day out. No problem. I accept the challenge. So let's start. Here's my favorite one. First I'm going to start with the weak stuff. This one is my favorite. Did you hear about Kamala Harris bringing someone into the campaign to reach out to evangelicals and Christians? Did you hear about her? You may not have. Story just came out, about 9 hours ago? Kamala Harris's new campaign hire attacks America as a cult and bloodthirsty imperial beast. I'm not kidding you. Vice President Kamala Harris recently hired a director on her campaign who has attacked swaths of white Christians and claimed that America is an imperial cult and bloodthirsty beast. The progressive Reverend Jennifer Butler has brought on to court people of faith onto the Harris Waltz ticket. Butler has argued that white supremacists have hijacked the Christian faith and now runs a program seeking to root out purported white nationalism from Christians. Quote, "Today we face fundamental threats to democracy," the Presbyterian minister said in her book, Who Stole the Bible? That book came out in 2020, by the way, before Kamala changed her values. The wealthy are overwhelmingly white, and those who systematically, economically disadvantage people of color. The many-headed beasts reveal the corruption of the imperial system around us, the imperial cult of the United States of America, whose stock market booms while unemployment skyrocketed, had numbed many Americans to our own reality, she wrote. Reverend Jennifer Butler. Her words in 2020, "This woman makes Jeremiah Wright sound like Pope John Paul II. I thought they were trying to appeal to white Christians, but they brought this woman on? Come on. Seriously? A radical fundamentalist Christian white fragility female pastor? Stop it. Stop it. These folks are trying to win? Really? I thought the problem was they were going too far left, and that's the reason why Kamala Harris was starting to meander towards the middle. And then she signs on now, a radical left-wing minister. Okay, fine. Let's go another step further. Did you hear about the polling data scandal? Did you not? You didn't? No problem. That's, again, what I'm here for. But don't believe me, folks. Again, I've got to come with empirical evidence. I'm weak here. I get it. I'm doing my best. Pro-Democrat samples fuel Harris's surge. Unfavorable vice president closes gap within Trump with Trump in the polls. Did you hear about this? From the Washington Examiner. Vice President Kamala Harris's growing lead in the polls may be exaggerated by oversampling Democrat voters. Gee, I wonder who said that. Oh, yeah, that was me. I've only been saying it for weeks. And some critics say it's intentional to bid in a bid to bolster her momentum. I wonder who said that, too. Democrats are celebrating after Miss Harris closed the poll gap within former President Donald Trump and even surpassed him nationally in some battleground states. A few weeks ago, Mr. Trump held a consistent lead in nearly every critical poll in a matchup with President Biden. Miss Harris has more than caught up with Trump since replacing Biden on the ticket on July 21st. She's ahead of Mr. Trump nationally by 2 percentage points and leading slightly or tying Mr. Trump in all 7 battleground states. Republican Party analysis say polling methodology gives Ms. Harris a phantom advantage because many polls sample a far smaller share of the Republicans than exit poll showings of the 2020 presidential election. Here's the breakdown. In other words, critics say the polls oversample Democrats, perhaps purposely to generate enthusiasm or to boost fundraising for Ms. Harris. Last week, the Harris campaign announced that it raised $540 million in July. That's more than 4 times the amount Mr. Trump raised in the same period. Mr. Trump, who is in a dead heat with Ms. Harris after leading Mr. Biden for weeks, mocked the oversampling of Democrats. He called it fake news. But here's where it gets interesting. Like several other major polls showing Harris's lead, the survey included more answers from those identifying as Democrats, 37.10% than Republicans, who were 33.8%. Again, 37.10 versus 33.8. According to the data, among those polled, 48% said that they voted for Mr. Biden in 2020, and 41.6% said that they chose Mr. Trump. Get the oversampling? Yes. Democrats also outnumbered Republican respondents in the poll released on August 27 by Yahoo News and YouGov.com. This poll found Ms. Harris ahead of Mr. Trump 47 to 46, just one point. Among those who participated in that poll, 33% of them identified as Democrats and 29 as Republicans. The percentage of Republican participants was significantly below the 2020 exit polling, in which 36% of voters identified as Republican. Get it? They're polling 3 points lower for Republicans. In the same 2020 exit poll, 37% of voters identified as Democrat. That's a 1-point advantage over Republicans. The Yahoo YouGov poll showed Mr. Trump winning independents by 44% to 35% over Ms. Harris. The former president had a 17-point advantage with seniors in the poll and picked up 13% of black voters and 39% of Hispanic voters. Mr. Trump's poll numbers are all significantly better than 2020. And that according to Jim McLaughlin, who polls for the former president. How they have Donald Trump losing, it's simple. They undersample Republicans. That's it. And remember, all of these polls are national. But, again, that's probably not enough for you. It shouldn't be. I failed you. So let me go one step further. Here's CNN. CNN is doing their own independent polling. And they're doing polling where it is important. That's state by state, because that's how elections are won. But here's something they said that was interesting. You might miss it, so I'm going to tell you what it says before you hear it. Donald Trump polls very well with non-college whites. That has always been a stickler to the elites. In essence, to say that Donald Trump does well with the uneducated. But something interesting happened in this poll, specifically in Georgia. I'll let that one play out for you to hear yourselves. It went like this.
If you look at the white voters without college degrees, this is a Trump-based constituency, obviously. You see his huge numbers with this group. You see that this is a trouble sign for Harris. She also, in a place like Georgia, is not doing well with white college-educated voters. She probably wants to make up some ground with white college-educated voters across these battlegrounds as well, Kate.
So did David Chilean, that's who that was on CNN, just say that not only is Donald Trump doing extremely well with non-college educated whites, but without saying Donald Trump's name, he says Kamala Harris is doing poorly with college-educated whites, which means that Donald Trump is doing better on both fronts. What does that mean for the Kamala Harris campaign in Georgia? It means they're losing Georgia, where it matters. It's a swing state that she's been in 7 times in the last couple of weeks. Overwhelmingly. College-educated whites, she's not doing well with. Non-college-educated whites, not doing well with. She's ranging in the 30s, ladies and gentlemen, in the 30s. Donald Trump is seeing numbers like 60s, 70s. So, what is with the polling data? What's with the polling data? It's to give people the illusion that Donald Trump is in a dead heat. What's also interesting is before Kamala Harris was ever in the race, and they were thinking of removing Joe Biden, when the chatter was going on, anybody but Biden, when they weren't even thinking of Kamala Harris, they said polling suggested any Democrat would be beating Donald Trump by 20 points. Any Democrat. But what happened? They get Kamala Harris in the polling data even when they oversample Democrats. 1 and 2 point leads? That's it? So what do you think it means? I know no one listening is a detective, all right? I know you're not Columbo, but come on. Come on. The average gumshoe can figure this out. It's all an illusion. Kamala Harris can get all the money that she could possibly garner. She could gain $1 billion before it's all over. But the American people are not going to vote for more of the same. I know it looks good to say that she's black or Asian or a woman. I know, but unfortunately, I don't think people can swallow that over a meal. I think Donald Trump had it right when he said people are voting with their stomachs. I truly do believe that. If my wife in 7 months can go from, I can't stand Donald Trump, to, hey, turn his speech up, I want to listen, something is drastically wrong in Denmark. And you all know it. I share it with you all the time. From the moment you guys met me, I told you who my wife was. I told you that I was going into the gauntlet again by marrying somebody who was a liberal. And she was, I could say, a diehard liberal. She still says I'm a Democrat, but she says, like Ed Koch used to say, I'm a common sense Democrat. But that woman went from hating Trump to watching his speeches now. She actually watches some of the things that they have on him. She watches his commercials. She laughs at his jokes. I don't know what's happening, folks, but I'm telling you, I'm not saying that my wife in some sort of way, like, what's that, like a diviner, like one of those water divine. No, I'm not saying that. But look, what you're seeing is a sea change. And it's really, really happening. What's happening over here with the Kamala Harris thing is a joke. It's nothing more than, it's David Copperfield. It's Doug Henning. All of this is pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. If it were so easy, if it were literally as gangbusters as people thought it was, she'd be beating the pants off Donald Trump at this point. 20-point lead, it would be 50. But it isn't. Because it's all a lie, and they're all in on it. Every facet of news media, print media, all of it. They're all in on it. And I think it was a rapper who once said, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. And they don't hear. So we'll take your phone calls. Have I proven myself yet? Have I proven that maybe I might know what I'm talking about here? That you can trust me? I don't know. You let me know. The number is 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both. It's recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Men, low testosterone causes a host of problems. These include a low sex drive, bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. But many men just attribute these symptoms to aging and don't consider that there are medical treatments that can give them back their vigor and vibrancy. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and if you're feeling like I just described, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. At Northeast Men's Health, we're experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. We've successfully treated thousands of men for low T and have seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in a man's life. If you're feeling like the vast majority of men who are low T, within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return. That brain fog will go away. Your sleep will improve, as will your workouts, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. So make an appointment and make a true life change. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you.
And now, a WTIC news update.
79 degrees at 3:30. I'm John Silva. The student center on the campus of Quinnipiac University was evacuated this afternoon after reports surfaced of a possible pipe bomb. Police and the regional bomb squad are handling that investigation. 4 are dead and 9 others injured after a shooting at a high school in Georgia today. 1 person is in custody. The shots rang out at Appalachia High, which is in Barrow County, about an hour outside Atlanta. The FBI and the ATF are taking part in that investigation. Searchers have been in the water in the Connecticut River again for a 3rd day, looking for 2 missing people who were on a boat that struck a jetty on Monday night, leaving 1 person dead and 6 others injured. The deceased has been identified by Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Police as 34-year-old Christopher Hallahan of Westbrook. Biden administration accusing Russia of engaging in an interference campaign leading up to the 2024 presidential election. The actions against Russia included multiple announcements across executive agencies today, including charges from the Justice Department. And state police are charging a man with making threats against a Superior Court judge. Nicholas Supple of Norwalk is being held on $250,000 bond. WTIC News Time 3:32. Jason Caterino with the forecast.
A beautiful late summer afternoon in progress with sunshine and warm temps, the high of 81. Clear to partly cloudy tonight. Comfortable again, the low back down to 53. Another gorgeous late summer day for Thursday, mostly sunny, very nice, the high of 81. Pleasant on Friday as well with a mix of sun and clouds, the high of 78. Saturday, mostly cloudy. We'll have some rain at times during the afternoon. Not quite as warm, the high of 74. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
All right, sunny and 79 right now in Hartford. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Beyonce's bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax...
Hey, Reese, you got about a minute and a half. What's the intro music like coming into again? It's like 90s.
He always puts in like 90s hip hop. It doesn't. Okay. Anything you want is fine. I don't care.
All right, sound good.
I'll flow with anything.
Over $1 billion of
perfect.
Their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Tax relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
1 minute.
Online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMSS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit,
10 seconds.
this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Oh, you have no idea what you're doing there. That's the beat right there. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. We'll get to the phones in a quick second, but if you're just joining us, I started this off by explaining that this polling data is really, it's made to do nothing but confuse and to make people feel cautious, as it were. But Dan E. has a great comment in the chat room, which is the reason why I tell people go to reseontheradio.com so you can join the chat by going to Facebook, X, or going to Rumble. Dan says this: the fake polls aren't only to generate false excitement, they cover for millions of fake mail-in ballots they're planning on sending in as well. Exactly. A very good point. Because no one will look when if you can get a mail-in ballot into a particular region, Fulton County, for instance, right? No one will question it because the polling data will suggest that. They'll just refer to that. Well, the polling data said exactly what we saw, right? And then it's not an argument, but you're absolutely on point, Dan. That's all used because, again, it always promotes that nonsense because then you won't question it. But you have to pay attention to the oversampling and force these guys to be honest in the first place. And now more and more people are paying attention to that. And I think primarily, Dan, because of what you're talking about, is that they know that cheating's going to, everybody knows that cheating's going to happen. But it's unrealistic in this case. So let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Sean is in Meriden. Hello, Sean. You on Reese on the Radio.
Thank you for taking my call. It's interesting, too. Suddenly Merrick Garland can get there and has all this information about Russian this and Russian that and all this technology, but you can't find the shooter for how much, a month and a half?
Yeah.
You don't know who he's connected to?
Yep.
And it's a beginning of setting the foundation because at the end of his comments weren't about Russia and China and stuff like that. It immediately switched over to domestic terrorists and domestic people who are doing the same thing so that now the stage is set
right
for them to cheat like they did last time.
And
when I called Senator Blumenthal and Senator
Murphy,
our other senator here in Connecticut,
Murphy,
and asked them questions about this, I could hear a pin drop.
Yep.
I'm like, why did you guys both blatantly back and say that President Biden was totally there and then agree to, like a coup, put someone in that you want and then take someone out that you don't want and then have no votes and think that and then you start. I said, you can't even use the word election integrity. You can't.
Exactly.
Because it's absolutely bullcrap.
My favorite part, Sean.
Point I want to have is
okay, go ahead. Make your last point. I was going to respond.
know exactly what they're doing because they help contribute because Kamala Harris went down to Venezuela to give Maduro money to promise for a fair election. And how did that work out?
Yeah, now they're down there to seize his plane. Imagine that.
You don't have him.
Yeah, imagine that. Sean, you make a good point about the
American. If you know it's plane service in America, then why don't you do everything you can to promote democracy and stop this dictatorship? But we gave Maduro millions for a fair election, only for him to use that to pay the military and the thugs that come in on motorcycles to keep everybody shut up. Appreciate your time. I'll stop and listen.
You got it. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate you. But you made a good point about that Merrick Garland thing. Merrick Garland, that whole purpose of coming out with that press conference is to do exactly what exactly one thing, and that is to get the news media to then report about everything Merrick Garland did, and that will be, in essence, they got their marching orders. That's what they did. They were given their marching orders. Now write about this: domestic terrorists, domestic people trying to influence our elections through Russian proxies. That's the whole idea. And once the news media starts talking about that, you have the constituents following suit. That's an important role of Merrick Garland. At least this campaign, the campaign of Merrick Garland, since his enlistment, if you will, into the Department of Justice. Let's go to George in St. Louis. Hello, George.
Hi, Reese. I want to talk communist Kamala. Maybe they should realize something when they follow Kamala into socialism. The cosmetics, the designer clothes, that's all gone. They're gonna look like, and women should be adorned, by the way, they're beautiful, but they're going to look like the pictures of Soviet women right out of the 1930s Depression. They're going to look, going to have secondhand clothes, and it's going to be a trip right down memory lane to the heart of the economic 1930s Depression. Another thing, and this is called integrity. The state-controlled media that followed communist Kamala, when they lose integrity, their advertising dollars are gone. They are gone. They are sunk, and they might as well fold up after January, because no one's going to listen to them anymore.
Yeah, I wish they. You know what? They've already lost credibility. I think they've already lost credibility. If you look at their numbers on the wide scope.
Hello.
Are you there? Can you hear me, George? Well, okay, I think we lost him. What I will say is this, simple and plain. They will lose all credibility once they have no one watching them. Once they start reaching in the 200,000s in the key demos or just in general, then they will have lost all credibility. I think they will hemorrhage enough reporters so that they go away. CNN will be the first to go if they do. There's no saving them, and advertising dollars will not save them, or for that matter, contributions. They may have to run like PBS. In other words, they'll have to run a telethon every year just to keep their doors open. But who knows? It could get worse. It could get worse for them. But I don't know. I don't know how lucky any of that can be for them after November, in my view. That's the way I look at it. Let me move on. I'm going to go to Tim. Tim's on the line. Tim's on his cell phone. How are you doing, Tim? Who's this?
Hey, pretty good. So I know you were talking before about how, Trump's probably going to win and there's no way she is. And listen, I'm probably a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
But she's going to win. That's what they're getting you ready for.
Okay.
That's why they're putting her up in the polls, to get you ready for it.
Okay, so let's unpack what you're saying here. So if I'm supposed to understand this.
Hello?
Can you not hear me? Okay, I'm losing everybody who can't hear me. My volume's up. Can you not hear me, Tim? Okay, there's something going on. Might be a mute thing.
Hello?
Nope, can't hear him. You may have to. I don't know what's going on. We may have to cut him off. But Tim, don't worry about it. If you can hear me, let me just say this. I'm going to explain it this way. I think it's the best way to explain it. If indeed Kamala Harris is going to win and we're being set up for her to win, several things have to make sense. The American people, and I know this, the number for her to win this time around has to be a staggering 85 million people. Joe Biden got 81, and they believed that he was going to lose this election to Donald Trump. We have an economy that is hemorrhaging. We have people who are nowhere near the median income they were getting 5 years ago. Nowhere near. And this administration has been at the helm, one that she was a part of, at the helm of that debacle of an economic platform. All of it. You have got to explain to me, because remember, Donald Trump, if Donald Trump is not cheating, let's say Donald Trump's team is not cheating and they're going out getting hand-to-hand votes. In 2020, an election he lost, he got close to 75 million. If more people have been affected by this administration in the last 3 years, more Democrats, more blacks, more Latinos, his polling numbers going up. It only means, remember, and again, it's the numbers. 2016, Donald Trump gets 63 million. He wins through the Electoral College, loses the popular vote by 3 million. He got 63, Hillary got 66. He still wins the election. In 2020, he loses by 6 million, but he gains 12 million votes by getting 75 million. He goes up each time he runs, 63 to 75. You have an abysmal 3 years economically. His numbers can only go up at this point, especially with the coalition of people who have left the party of Democrats who are now joining Trump. In order for him to just make 75 million or to get less, like the abandonment of all of this is absolutely, he'd have to go back down to 70 million? That's almost impossible under the circumstances. The pattern he's gone in has only gone up. So what do you think? Possibility. I'll be modest. 77 million, 78 million. But the only trajectory for Donald Trump after this administration is up. You're then telling me that Kamala Harris has got to exceed Joe Biden in order to win. She has to. Donald Trump's numbers the trajectory only says he's going up, especially with how abysmal the economy is, especially with the amount of people who have openly suggested they are no longer voting for Democrats. We've seen that overwhelmingly. The number of people who are leaving the Republican Party to go to the Democrat Party, barely a blip. Please explain to me how those numbers can definitely go up for Donald Trump, and you know they're not going up for for Democrats, and think that Kamala Harris can exceed 80 million votes. No, absolutely impossible. Just no way. Let me go to Fred in Middletown, and then we'll take a break. Don't everybody else sit, just hang on. I will get to you guys in a second. But Fred, how are you, Fred?
Hey, according to my expert, Lori Hopkins Kavanaugh, there were, hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. There were 15 million more votes cast than there are voters. And as regards the numbers, the polls, there's a reason why you might do that. Same reason a sporting event will be falsely close with the bookies to lure you out, to make you think it's a contest at all, assuming, it's fixed for Trump. They might even just want to be playing like she's still in it. And regarding George from St. Louis's comment about tour, they had a national dress code for the whole nation of China, the Mao suit. I understand Mao's was highly tailored and made of silk, though. Thank you.
You got it, boss man. I appreciate it. Christopher A. says, wow, bro, Reese, seeing you and what you look like for the first time. You look far different. You sound like you are clean shaven. Thank you, Chris A. I appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate that, Christopher. That's interesting. Anyway, we're going to take a break in a minute, guys. Rich in Bloomfield and George in St. Louis. Hold on. We will be back after the break. I'll get to you guys immediately after. But again, this polling data, all of it, insane. And I think, going back to what Dan said earlier, I think that's a key point. Do not forget that. The fake polls are not just to generate false excitement. They're also to cover the millions of fake mail-in ballots that they're planning on sending in. Of course, listen, that's goes without saying. But I think that Republicans are playing the smart game here. They're not going to be caught flat-footed like they did in 2020. You know, I think they're fighting back, and I think they have a strategy. If you've noticed, they've not said much about what the strategy is this time around. But you can damn well believe that they are not going to get caught in the way that they did in 2020. So trust me on that one. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More of these phone calls and, of course, much more news. Oh, and don't forget, at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock, we're going to be talking to Mark Fitch, the investigative reporter, is talking about Green Bank, and, of course, the exclusive he's got coming out on the September 15th in his publication. But we'll get to that in a minute. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Texting enrolls in recurring automated text marketing messages. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply. Reply help for help or stop to opt out.
Are you drinking too much? Is alcohol affecting your relationships? Could drinking be affecting your job?
Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of Or Health. I struggled with alcohol misuse for 15 years. I tried self-help, therapy, and traditional 12-step programs, but nothing really worked. That's why I started Or Health. Or Health provides access to safe and effective medication, FDA approved for the treatment of alcohol issues. A daily pill proven to reduce alcohol cravings and make it easier to drink less or quit.
To join the thousands who are drinking less or who have quit altogether, text BEGIN to 710-710. You'll be sent a secure link to Or Health's private online assessment. If treatment is right for you, a licensed medical professional will prescribe medication for discreet and convenient delivery to your door. Just text BEGIN to 710-710. That's BEGIN to 710-710.
Not available in all states. For SMS terms, privacy policy, risk, and restrictions, please go to orhealth.com/terms. Use as directed.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
I want to learn how to cook, but
1 minute.
Takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after
Ready to go.
picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles? Comment tu t'appelles? Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use.
I'm going to I got to skip over George, and I'm going to go to Lori real quick. I'm going to Rich first and then Lori, okay?
Okay, perfect. Him with the cell phones call back too.
Okay. You know what? You may have to tell them to hold off because I got a guest at 4 o'clock. I'm never going to get everybody else in.
Okay.
Now try
10 seconds.
free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
All right, we're back, folks. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I want to thank Craig J. For the T-shirt, Black Rifle Coffee T-shirt. It was here for a while. I just got a hold of it, and I'm wearing it today. You can check it out at going to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Just go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. You can watch my melodious voice on the screen. I love this T-shirt. Craig, I'm not going to lie. Just tell me where to buy them. I'll get more of them, and I hope they are different colors. But this is right up my alley. It almost feels like I'm wearing a G.I. Joe shirt. Anyway, to the phones we go. Let's go to Richie in Bloomfield. Hello, Richie. You're on Reese on the Radio.
What's going on, Reese?
How we doing, sir?
Can you hear me?
Very good, sir.
Hey, Reese, can you hear me?
I can, sir. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Reese?
No, we've got something going on.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, I don't know either. We've got something going on. Let's see if we can try Lori. Lori's in class.
Reese?
Yeah, wait, you there?
Oh, okay.
Hi, Lori. Can you hear me?
As soon as you pick up the thing, I can hear the little ding, but I can't hear you.
Ah.
So that's what's happening on our end.
Okay.
Just to kind of explain it, but I don't know if you're talking right now.
Okay.
So, but I'm just going to blurt out what I was going to say. I heard you talking about the Red Sox with Pastor Will. Oh my gosh, that could have been a whole other conversation. I have so many thoughts. You've heard me air my grievances about that whole thing, so I won't go there. But I don't know if you had talked about like how they're going to count all of the votes with all of the illegal immigrants that are coming over. I don't know if that's still a thing. I think you might have explained it with one of the previous callers, but I might not have heard it because the phone was ringing. I will go ahead and hang up and listen to the response. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Oh, folks, I don't know exactly what's going on with the phone lines, but we will figure it out. I promise. We'll get somebody in here to figure it out, and I apologize. But Lori, I did. You heard me talking to Pastor Will earlier today. Thank you. Yes, and that particular year, 2004, with the Red Sox, I could talk about them till the cows come home. Sometimes I've been asked to shut up about them, but I to get into the ballots, the illegal. There's a story out of Texas, San Antonio in particular, where they're going to be giving hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to register illegals or to get illegals to vote in this election, which is one thing that Republicans are fighting against as well. Ken Paxton in Texas, the Attorney General, is putting an injunction on stopping an effort to do just that in Texas, of all places, that people would even consider doing that. So, again, the fight goes on. It's only, 63 days, 62 days until Election Day. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of fight left in us, and we can't let them. And again, look, I don't want people to think they don't have enough time to cheat. They're cheating at the end of. Starting after Election Day 2020. Okay, these people had their mitts on cheating. You could damn well bet. So you've got to cut them off at the pass and be prepared for everything. So, what are you going to do? You just have to be careful. That's all you can do. That's all you can do is just be careful. Get out there and vote. If you have early voting in your state and you need to, just make sure that you get your ballot out and don't let anybody discourage you otherwise. We're about there. Yeah, we're about to get to our first read or beat on the traffic by going to the BPS Traffic Center, which should be coming up in a second with Mark Christopher, and we'll actually get what that traffic is like. Are we ready for him yet? I didn't hear the sound yet, Justin. There.
WTIC weather.
Nope, that's it. Okay. There's Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
I'm Mark Christopher from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center, and if you are heading into Hartford right now, southbound side 91 delays 34 down to 32 A and B, and again a little slow down by exit 28. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is tied up in East Hartford, approaching the Bulky Bridge into the tunnel. Eastbound 84, some slow traffic, 46 up to the Bulky Bridge. 291, 384, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing 22 up to the Aragoni Bridge. Looks like we have an accident in the right lane just prior to the Aragoni, so look out for that. Also a crash reported 9 northbound between exit 37 and 38 in New Britain. The right lane is shut down there, so look out for that problem. If you are heading into Waterbury right now, westbound 84, some slow traffic from 26 up to exit 23 on the westbound side of 84. If you are heading into Newtown, 84 eastbound, a little tight by 11. Southbound 95, New Haven, tight from 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
We've got a beautiful late summer afternoon in progress with plenty of sunshine, the high of 81. Then tonight, under clear to partly cloudy skies, so it'll be cool and comfortable once again. The low down to 53. Another beautiful late summer day for Thursday. Mostly sunny, very nice. The high of 81. There'll be a nice breeze out of the southeast. Mainly clear, still comfortable as we head through our Thursday night. The low down to 56. We'll round out the week with a pleasant day Friday, a mix of sun and clouds, the high of 78. Friday night, mainly clear, the low down to 59. Then Saturday, a mostly cloudy day. We'll have rain at times during the afternoon. Not quite as warm, the high of 74. Sunday, chance for a bit of rain or drizzle in the morning. Otherwise, the clouds give way to some sunshine. Should be a nicer second half of the day, the high up to 74. Then a beautiful day to kick off next week on Monday, mostly sunny and pleasant, the high 74. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is 99 and kicks off a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
4 o'clock at afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. In Hamden, the Student Center on the campus of Quinnipiac University had to be evacuated today. This after reports surfaced of a possible pipe bomb. Police and the regional bomb squad are handling that investigation. The White House is responding to the school shooting today in Winder, Georgia. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
Today is supposed to be an exciting day for students and parents, but instead, we're seeing yet another horrific shooting.
Now, 4 people were killed, 9 wounded in the shooting at Appalachia High just outside Atlanta. Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith says a suspect is in custody, but it'll take some time to find out why the shooting occurred.
Lift up Barrow County schools, lift up Appalachia, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened.
The FBI and the ATF are also involved in that probe. After a 5-day delay due to road and property damage from last month's flood, Oxford Public Schools open tomorrow. Torrential rain and major flooding hit the town. School Superintendent Dr. Robert Miller says the schools open as many are still hurting.
My excitement is dampened by the nature of recovery that still remains for this town. It's not just the roads that are damaged, but people's homes are severely damaged. Some people can't live in their homes right now. Their livelihoods impacted. Income, the ability to buy food, the ability to get out to get food.
Miller says some students still can't leave their homes or access transportation. They will be learning remotely for the time being. School bus routes have been adjusted to include community bus stops as parts of routes 34 and 67 and smaller roads remain closed. Crews continued their search today for the 2 missing individuals who were aboard that boat that crashed into a jetty Monday night, killing 1, injuring 6. Department of Energy and Environmental Protection did release the name of the deceased. He's been identified as 34-year-old Christopher Hallahan.
Is Mark going to be able to hear us on the phones?
Divers and first responders.
Yeah, what did Lori say? I couldn't about the phones.
In that
she said that she can hear me, but I could hear her, or she could hear me, but no, I could hear her, and she could hear when the phone went up, but she couldn't hear when I was talking to her.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that'll be an issue. Let me see if I don't know if Bob Arthur does the phones. I don't know who to, because I know Joey's away.
Has tendered his resignation. This ahead of an expected government cabinet shakeup. Today, Russia attacked an area not far from the Ukrainian border with Poland. 7 were killed.
What we're seeing here is possible retaliation for Ukraine's surprise incursion into Russia. That we know was nearly a month ago, and then into the Kursk region. Kyiv says it's holding an area about 450 square miles, and for some kind of comparison, that's nearly roughly the size of the state of Rhode Island. And that land there, they're saying, could be used as a bargaining chip for Ukraine to potentially get back parts of eastern Ukraine that Russia now occupies.
Correspondent Ramy Inocencio. On Wall Street, the closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow up 37, NASDAQ down 52, S&P down 8 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
WTIC AM, an equal opportunity employer, is dedicated to providing broad outreach regarding job vacancies at our station. We seek the help of local community organizations in referring qualified applicants to our station. Community organizations that wish to receive our vacancy information should call Stephanie Gragan at 804-474-0010. In addition, all listeners are encouraged to visit Odyssey.com for an online listing of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Are you a proud Connecticut business owner? We are too, with more than 45 years of experience handling business transactions for small and mid-sized businesses. And we know that not every business relationship works out as planned. If you find yourself in a dispute, call the law firm of Brown, Painderis, and Scott. Our team of business lawyers have over 100 years of
10 seconds.
experience.
All right,
at
thank you.
BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a law firm. Visit us
So I'm
at
just going to tease Mark, and then we'll go to the
Nick
BPS
Painderis
Traffic
is
Center.
responsible for the content.
Perfect.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Coming up this hour, we're going to talk to Mark Fitch, who is got a story coming out on September 15th. We're going to see if we can tease it as much as we can, but he's been writing a story that I have been interested in, and that is in the Connecticut Green Bank. Not just because it's in Connecticut or because it's a green bank, it's because the growing market of green banks across the country and what they've been doing, how they've been getting funding, primarily through taxpayers, through ratepayers. They are the ones who are getting money directly from the public benefit program, the public benefit of fees that Connecticut ratepayers have been paying, I should say. And I want to talk to him a little bit about that. There was also a scandal that happened earlier in the year with no-bid contracts related to Connecticut Green Bank. Somewhat those things have been squashed, but I want to get Mark Finch in here to explain exactly what's going on with the Connecticut Green Bank and how this is a bigger scandal than many people are discussing or at least having a conversation about. It's not in the mainstream media, and it should be. And we'll break all that down. Now, we'll get to sort of all of it. Mark Fitch will break it down because I'm more confused about exactly what's going on in the green space, at least in this regard. And Mark's going to be here so he can at least lay it out so it's, for me, crystal clear and a little simpler for me to understand because I'm all over the place and I'm worried about these phones right now. My head is in other places right now. Hopefully, we'll get that fixed for everybody to give a call. But stay tuned for that. We will have Mark on. Also, later on, we're going to talk about, and I just had it in front of me, again, because I'm not ready to go. Oh, in the 5 o'clock focus. Well, actually, I'm going to save that until after we talk to to Mark. Now I'm confusing. We'll talk to Mark. We'll explain that in a bit, and of course, we'll figure out what your phone calls are, and we'll figure out exactly how we can get that worked out. Okay? So be patient for me. It's flying by the seat of your pants radio today, especially when you're trying to work things out. What's the old saying that I say? If you want to make God laugh, make plans. I made plans today. He's probably laughing his butt off right now. All right, so we will get to all of that in a little bit. But for now, let's go to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Don't worry, it's okay.
Should I start talking? Or what?
There you go. Hey, Mark.
Oh, okay. There you go. Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, everyone. And if you are into downtown Hartford right now on the southbound side of I-91, look for delays from 35 down to 32 A and B. South of downtown, a little slow down by exit 28. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up just after 56 into the tunnel. 84 eastbound, you've got delays 48 Capitol Avenue down to the Bulkley Bridge. 291, 384 moving well east of the river. 2 eastbound in good shape east Hartford, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound. Look out for an accident on the right shoulder between exit 22 and 23, and you'll see delays again approaching the Harbor Park area up toward the Aragoni Bridge. Now, if you're traveling 9 northbound, look out for an accident on the New Britain Newington line between exit 37 and 38 on 9 northbound. The right lane's out there, a little bit of a delay behind that. If you're heading into Middletown, 84 westbound, a little slow 23 into the Mixmaster in Waterbury. 84 eastbound, moving well Danbury into Newtown. South 95 New Haven, type 46 to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, it's been a fantastic afternoon, and we will continue to see some great.
I called Bob Arthur. He didn't answer. I left him a message. I don't know who else to go to.
Okay.
Looking at very comfortable temperatures. The low heading back down into the lower 50s. 53 for the overnight low tonight. Mostly sunny. Another beautiful day for our Thursday. The high of 81. Then Friday, another great day. Pleasant with a mix.
If worse comes to worse, I'll find a way to get. But
now rain returns as we head on.
I don't know whether or not the phones are going to come through, but we'll find out in a second.
Okay, yeah, hopefully they do.
Rain early on Sunday, then the clouds giving way to sun. So the second half of Sunday looking pretty good.
Of course, today. They go down.
It's okay.
Sunday, mostly sunny, very pleasant. The high 74. Right now, Danbury 75, Bridgeport also 75 at 79 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Remember, for all station contest rules, go to WTIC.com/rules.
A successful retirement doesn't just happen. It requires a plan that is custom built to suit everyone's individual financial situation. Every Saturday at 3, we share vital information on how to build and live a successful retirement. It's On the Money with Jay Dorso. Retirement strategies on building income and proper protection from the pitfalls and the latest news in the retirement universe. On the Money with Jay Dorso, 3 p.m. this Saturday on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Experience relief from oral inflammation and infection at
10 seconds.
Led by Dr. Mohammadi, our practice operates 7 days a week with extended hours, dedicated to restoring peace and comfort to your smile. Visit ColumbiaDental.com.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let's run the risk. Let's see if it works. On the phones with us today, investigative reporter, inside investigative reporter, Mark Fitch is on the line. Mark, can you hear me?
Hello.
Mark, he cannot hear me. Mark, you can't hear me at all, can you?
Hello?
No. Nope, he cannot hear me. Okay, this isn't working. It's okay. Actually, we're going to okay, we're not going to get him. We're not going to get him. There's just no way. So I'm going to try something a little different. Give me a minute. I will figure it out. Just take Mark off so at least you can talk to him behind the scenes. We'll get Mark on the phone in another way. Obviously, we're having problems with the phone lines. That's all right. It's just one of those things. Roland's not in. And, of course, like I said, it's fly by the seat of your pants. Let me actually just give you a breakdown until we figure out exactly what we're going to do with Mark. He wrote an article in March of this year that talks about the Connecticut Green Banks awarding no-bid contracts to the nonprofit that it created. In essence, the breakdown was that other green energy companies in or around the state were getting boxed out of opportunities to turn the state green. You want to put solar panels on your school? There would be a bid for that contract. And Connecticut Green Bank was awarding these contracts to a company that they created with their own staff. Now, since that happened and after the reporting, finally that the kibosh was put on that. But nonetheless, it shows exactly how much of all of this green energy stuff is nothing more than a fleecing of finances. There is no, reducing carbon footprints. It's all for, I know they tell you that it is, but it's all farcical. All of it is financial. All of it is about money. It always is. Someone is getting paid. Someone's pockets are being lined. Always. And in a lot of cases, many organizations are becoming or starting to add this sustainable apparatus to their companies, which is also good for business as well. Because why? You get grants. You get kickbacks, subsidies, the whole layout, as it were. That's what it is. So Mark is actually investigating a lot of that and a lot of the money that is being not just, I'm for lack of a better word, stolen from the public. Because that's what in my view, it's nothing more than theft. And there are governments that are involved in this and they're complicit in all of this. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of who, like, I'll give you a perfect example, right? Why would Eversource, Ned Lamont, congressional Democrats in Connecticut, why would they allow this to happen right at a time where they know it's politically the worst thing that could happen to a political party at this point, when they're telling everyone that they are trying to be more sustainable, where more people need to be aware of their carbon footprint, that if they go to renewables, that their carbon footprint would not only be lowered, but they would be saving themselves money, knowing damn well that's not the case. It's never the case. It becomes far more expensive in order for people to heat their homes. They say it's not, but trust me, it always is. Energy companies have to make money. But knowing that, and knowing that the people who get affected the most are the people who are the most vulnerable, knowing that that's going to hurt them politically, especially at a time like this when they know that people are already reeling with the price of just living, that to add this to it when a basic need like turning on the lights become too expensive to do, you almost sort of feel like you're living in a prison or in a third world country. Turn that light off. Hurry up and get out of that shower. Just leave the dishes. We can't afford the water. When you know that people have to live like that and tell them that this is saving them money, that this is better for them, that they're saving the planet, but convenience be damned. Knowing all of that, and then to have this going on where, again, people who are connected, people who obviously do not care about the little guy, line their pockets. So that's primarily what the issue is. So do me a favor, Justin, if you can, if you can find it, give me 5 minutes, or give me not even 5, give me 2 minutes. Take about a 2-minute break here. I'm going to work something with the phones on my end so I can get Mark on the line. In fact, if you do have Mark's number, send it to me. I will get Mark on the phone using, I guess, I'll find a way on my end to get Mark on the phone so that we can at least talk to him so we can break all this down. Can you do that for me real quick?
Yep, I got 2 minutes ready.
Okay. All right. We'll go to break. Stick around. I'll fix it on my end so we can get Mark on the phone and then meet with him. And, just send in the chat room here. Just send me his telephone number and I'll give him a call right now. All right. Folks, stick around. We'll be back. I apologize for the inconvenience, but we will fix this and figure it all out in a minute. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
California Psychics is the real deal. They helped me out.
He said when he said he had your contact info, so he didn't leave his number.
Okay, no problem.
We only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien high-efficiency tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter. So help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma,
Mark, you
COPD,
there?
heart disease, or
Okay.
severe
I'm gonna
diabetes,
try to do
you're at higher
something
risk
here,
of landing in the
10 seconds.
RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at
believe that this happened.
vaxthesystem.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah. It's Reese on the radio. We're back. I'm going to try something incredibly odd here. Mark, now I'm going to need your assistance on this one, Justin. Just let me know if you can hear. Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. And how does Mark sound on the air? Justin, can you hear him?
A little low, but yeah, I think it should be okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to make sure that I can get your volume up so at least that everybody can hear you, but we should be able to work this out. So Mark Finch is on the line. Mark, what is the name of the publication that you write for?
It's Connecticut Inside Investigator.
Okay, it is Connecticut Inside Investigator. Now,
Yes.
you've written about this story. You wrote about it, I think, as early as March of this year, right? Now, was that your first story about the Connecticut Green Bank?
First feature story. I think I've probably written about them, in other ways in the past, but this is first feature story about them. Yeah.
Right, and then when you wrote this story, in essence, it was the breakdown of this story was the fact that there was a no-bid contract or no-bid contracts that were being given to certain contractors. In this particular case, a company that Connecticut Green Bank, had invented on its own using 8 of its original employees and just bringing them down the hall. Can you explain that a little bit in detail?
Sure. So this happened back in like 2018, 2019, and the Green Bank spun off its own nonprofit using its own employees and their own office space to create what they call this nonprofit called Inclusive Prosperity Capital. And they said it was to protect the Green Bank's funds from legislative raids because they had been raided in 2017. But what's happened since then is that not only have the salaries of the people who got spun off into that nonprofit increased, but also the Green Bank is delivering no-bid contracts for power purchase agreements to Inclusive Prosperity Capital. And just so people kind of understand how it works, if you want to build solar, it's kind of like you want to build a house and you go to a mortgage company saying, I need this money to build this house. And they say, okay, here's the money. We're going to charge you interest. That power purchase agreement is essentially the interest. It's the company recouping their money from building the solar array. So when you don't put it out to bid and you're just handing it off to somebody, you don't know if you're getting the best deal. And this is being done for municipalities, for towns across Connecticut who go to the Green Bank. And so these towns, they're paying a few cents on every kilowatt hour towards Inclusive Prosperity Capital, but they could have gotten a better deal, possibly, had those power purchase agreements gone out to bid.
And two of the points you make in this article are projects that were in Manchester and Portland were the two two municipalities that got caught up in this, which I think is that what prompted your article in the first place?
What prompted my article in the first place was private solar companies in Connecticut reaching out to me saying, hey, we have a problem here. And we saw in legislative testimony during public hearing, some companies got up there and said, hey, we're being forced to actually compete with the Connecticut Green Bank to get some of these solar projects. And that's not what the Green Bank was created for. The Green Bank was created to, build up the solar industry in Connecticut. And congratulations, you've done a great job. We're here. But now we're being undercut by this very same organization. And it's an organization that's funded with taxpayer dollars, with ratepayer dollars. It's a quasi-public entity. It's not in danger of going out of business, and it has the full faith and force of the Connecticut government behind it. So it's kind of tough for them to compete, even though, according to documents received under Freedom of Information Act, the private companies actually offer better rates many times than Inclusive Prosperity Capital does.
And so now I thought at least I think I read, there is a second article that says that the bank was stripped from the governor's solar bill. Does that mean that they no longer was this a response to those no bid contracts in that report that they stripped them from this solar bill, or did that even affect what they were doing behind closed doors, so to speak?
So it was stripped out from the governor's bill after the legislative hearing, because the people on the Energy and Technology Committee came down on the green bag pretty hard. So originally in the bill, it required that any municipality that wanted to get grant funding to redo their school or build a new school would have to go to the Green Bank to do a solar feasibility study. And it said the Green Bank specifically.
Wow.
So they took the Green Bank out of that because, the private companies were arguing, well, if you're just going to you're just kind of funneling all these municipalities right to the Green Bank, and they're just going to go with them instead of possibly using our services.
Yeah.
So that was taken out, but as far as I know, they're still using Inclusive Prosperity for their power purchase agreements. And another interesting thing, because I just went through the story myself to remind myself of things. Inclusive Prosperity Capital, they share office space there, but also their primary source of income isn't even the power purchase agreements from these solar arrays. It's consulting revenue that they get paid by the Connecticut Green Bank. So
wow.
Yeah, so it's like money just crossing the cubicle, essentially. So they're charging the Green Bank for their consulting services and then getting these no bid contracts as well.
All right, now stay on the line with me because we've got to go to a break. And I'm sorry we have to do this so makeshift, but at least I know it's going over the airwaves. When we come back at the bottom of the hour, I know you can't really tell what your article is about that's coming out on the 15th, but can you at least tease it for us in the next break so at least we can get people one to know that it's out there, to look for it, to at least maybe go to the Connecticut what's the name of the publication again? Connecticut Inside Investigator. Yes, Connecticut Inside Investigator website, so they can at least alert themselves to it, or at least sign up for the newsletter so they can get an alert on it. Can you hold on for us to the bottom of the hour?
Absolutely.
All right.
Sure thing.
Thank you, man. Okay, we'll be back. More news, more views. We've got Mark Fitch, who is the Connecticut Inside Investigators journalist, who's got an exclusive coming out next week on the 15th. That's wait until you hear it. I just want everybody to hear exactly what's in this article. We'll go into the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Thank you, guys.
Beautiful late summer
Oh,
afternoon
never mind.
in
There you go.
progress with sunshine and warm temps, the high of 81.
Mark Christopher from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. If you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91 slowing 33 to 32, again 27 down to 28. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is tied up just after 56 up to 47 Sigourney Street. 84 eastbound, you got delays a half mile.
Hey, the phone should be working now. If Mark wants to call back in and go on hold, or we can keep doing it that way.
To Marlboro. 9 northbound delays middle.
No, we're going to keep them here because did they fix the phone yet?
Yeah, it should be fixed now.
Okay, hold on. Mark, see if you can
slowing
call
at
back
11
on the
in
line. If
Newtown.
not, we'll get you back
Southbound
on this
91 is a
phone.
little tight, 8 to 7 in New Haven. And again, from 95 southbound, you've got slow traffic 46 down to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather.
Did they find out what the problem was?
News Talk 1080.
A beautiful late summer afternoon in progress.
Yeah.
Temps, the high of 81.
So the other station I work at, I'm not used to using the phone, so I forgot one of the buttons had to be on.
Oh, okay.
The phone, so that's my bad.
No. Hey, listen, dude.
High of 81.
It happens, dude. Don't
Friday
listen.
well,
This is
clouds,
one of those
high
things
78.
where I've got to be on my
Saturday,
toes
mostly
when
cloudy.
things
We'll have
go
some rain at
haywire.
times during the
I don't like
afternoon.
being
Not quite as
comfortable.
warm,
I needed
high of
that.
74. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Start your day with all the latest sports information. Matt Soroyce has updates from the Cordell and Cordell Sports Desk at 15 and 45 past every hour. Only on WTIC.
That audio did sound great, Ben. I was actually a little stunned myself.
Yeah, it did. It actually sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
All I did was put the cell phone up to the microphone.
Cozy up and watch something.
That's perfect. Glad we figured it out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Legacy Box is the simple, safe, all-inclusive solution.
All right, and Mark's on hold.
With
All right, thank you.
memories trapped on videotapes, film, even photos. After 10 years in business, Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their wedding days, babies' first steps, and family road trips. Just fill Legacy Box with your VHS tapes, film reels, or pictures. Legacy Box digitizes it all by hand right here in the USA, and then sends it back on a thumb drive or the cloud. Future-proof your recorded moments today so you can gather the family and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, they're offering 55% off. Go to legacybox.com/value to get 55% off. That's legacybox.com/value.
And now, a WTIC news update.
78 degrees at 4:30. I'm John Silva. Police and bomb squad officials were called to Quinnipiac University today on a report of a pipe bomb. Student Center was evacuated, the regional bomb squad leading the probe. Commuters are advised to stay away from the area for the time being. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says a shooter at a high school in North Georgia killed 4 people. Authorities say at least 9 were injured. A suspect is in custody. Students scrambled for shelter in the football stadium as officers swarmed the campus and parents raced to find out if their children were safe. Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has released the name of the man killed in a boating accident Monday near the mouth of the Connecticut River in Old Saybrook. Westbrook resident Christopher Hallahan was 34. He and others were coming back from Block Island when their vessel hit a breakwall. 6 were injured, 2 are still missing. 4 are dead, 9 injured following that shooting that we told you about in Winder, Georgia. Police having a news conference at this hour. Lockdown on the campus of Norwich Technical High School this afternoon after 22 caliber bullets were found on school property. Officers doing a sweep of the school. And Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel must keep open-ended control of Gaza's border with Egypt, digging in on his stance on an issue that has threatened to derail ceasefire efforts. The Prime Minister's comments came as the U.S. is developing a new proposal for a ceasefire and hostage release. Dow up 38 on Wall Street today. NASDAQ down 52. S&P down 8 points. Red Sox and Mets wrap up their 3-game series tonight at Citi.
So after the news, I'm just doing a quick 15-second one just so you can get the mark here.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Debacle and take on
No problem.
in Texas. Eastern League, Altoona plays the Yard Goats at Duncan Park, 7:10 on the Odyssey app. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Traffic is brought to you by the Heyman Law Firm.
If you or a loved one has been the victim of medical malpractice,
10 seconds.
know that you are not alone. Call 1-800-HEYMAN, and they will get you the answers and advice you deserve. Attorney John Heyman is your legal authority in medical malpractice. Call 1-800-HEYMAN.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. It's News Talk 1080 WTIC. We've got Mark Fitch. I keep saying Finch. I have no idea why, Mark. I apologize, but
you're not the first. You won't be the last.
From Connecticut Inside Investigator on the line. We're talking about the Connecticut Green Bank, and we're talking about, of course, the renewable energy, or at least in most cases, I think what everyone's been talking about, and that is the public benefit charge from Eversource. So you've got a story coming out on the 15th of this month that people will be able to get online if I guess they should subscribe, or at least subscribe to the, or get an alert on that publication.
Yeah, go to insideinvestigator.org and sign up for our emails.
Okay, insideinvestigator.org for you to get it. And this is an exclusive. So what can you tell us without giving anything away that people, at least that should be the draw to this story?
Well, I mean, people, everybody's upset about the public benefits charge because it went up so much. But, we've been paying, ratepayers in Connecticut have been paying that public benefits charge for decades. And basically, up until recently, it was wrapped into your delivery charge. So people didn't even really see it there.
Right.
this charge has been paying for government programs and policies for decades. So the question is, how much have you paid, and what did it go towards? And that's the question that I try to answer with this piece.
Okay, and people, I'm assuming, if I were to gauge based on the article that you wrote so far, and you gave it to your editor, is the overall, let's just say, if you had to guess, are people in Connecticut going to be outraged by this report when they find out what that money's been going towards?
Well, over 20 years and millions of ratepayers, it adds up to quite a bit of money. So,
and you got the numbers. You got the numbers to what they've paid, what they've got from Connecticut ratepayers in 20 years time.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it adds up, and to the best of our ability, we put it together.
So, okay, so you can't tease whether or not there's going to be a little bit of outrage in these numbers, or at least what it's going to.
At this point, I don't need to tease outrage. Everybody's already ticked off and boycotting their bills and posting pictures online and everything like that. I mean, all I'm doing is just moseying in and saying, hey, here's what you've paid over 20 years. I know you're upset about the last, 2.
Right.
But there's been more.
Wow. And I can't wait. So I'm assuming that your publication, what time do you print at in the morning? Is it like 6 a.m., 5 a.m.?
I think it usually, if it's a preset article like that, it usually publishes like 5 a.m. And then it's coming out on a Sunday, which means it'll go out in our Sunday email blast.
Okay.
So, people who sign up for our newsletter, we only email you twice a week.
Okay.
And it's what we've done that week.
Okay. And you've done, I went to look at this in this publication, Inside Investigator, and I was like, some of the stuff that you cover, I don't find anywhere else. What do you think is part of the reason why you guys, are they just ignoring these stories? Do they not care? Or are you guys doing the stories that the media doesn't really care about? Because this is a big deal.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. The reason we started is to cover stories that, other people weren't picking up, or other, publications weren't picking up. And, obviously, journalism has seen a long decline nationally. They don't have as many reporters as they used to. They don't have as many publications as they used to. And a lot of stuff gets lost in the mix, especially when you get down into some nitty-gritty stuff.
Right.
So, we decided we'd try to pick up whatever slack we could and make it as interesting as possible. And, that's how Connecticut Inside Investigator was born. So, other publications out there, they do great work, but sometimes it can take a lot of time to look into some of these issues, and it might be time that other reporters just don't have.
Yeah, understood. Absolutely. Just to let everybody know, Mark Fitch is also an author, and I'm sure you can look him up online. But go to Inside Investigator, find out what you can about Mark. I didn't have a chance to go through any of your books because I've been paying attention to this story. But if you can make a promise to me after the article comes out, since it comes out on Sunday, can you be on the show on Monday so we can talk about it?
Sure thing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for dealing with all of our little mishaps here on the show, but coming on anyway to sort of lay this out for us. I think it's going to be a big story on Sunday. I can't wait for it. And we'll have you back here on the 16th. Immediately after that story breaks. So thank you again. That is Mark Fitch of the Connecticut Inside Investigator. Go to insideinvestigator.org. That's insideinvestigator.org. Become a subscriber so that you can get that story when it goes public on the 15th on a Sunday. All right, with that, let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
Thank you, Reese.
You got it, man. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Reese, and thank you to our guest. And if you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91, you're looking at delays 33 down to 32 A&B, again 27 to 28. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up just after 56 up to 48 Asylum Street. 84 eastbound delays half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue down into the tunnel. 291 384 moving well east of the river. 2 eastbound just a little bit slow as you move up on exit 5B in East Hartford. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound Waterbury slows 22 into the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound slowing by 5 in Danbury. A little slow again. 84 eastbound by 11 in Newtown. South 95 New Haven tight from 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC. It's been another beautiful day. We've got a great evening and a quiet night ahead of us. Clear to partly cloudy skies, very comfortable and cool. The low down to 53. Then another gorgeous late summer day for Thursday, mostly sunny. The high of 81. Friday, another great day, pleasant, a mix of sun and clouds. A high of 78. We get some rain as we head through the day on Saturday, especially in the afternoon. It'll be mostly cloudy, the high 74. That rain lingers through Saturday night and into early Sunday morning before the clouds give way to some sunshine. The second half of the day looking very nice on Sunday, the high up to 74. Beautiful day to kick off the week on Monday, too. Mostly sunny, very pleasant. The high right back to 74. New Haven at 77, Mansfield at 75, at 79 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Don't just live with foot pain. Find the Good Feet store nearest you at goodfeet.com.
Hi, this is Eric Hogarth from Money Wisdom. Tune in this week and every week to learn more about how to strengthen your portfolio or how to create a 5-star retirement plan. Tune in to Money Wisdom Saturdays at 8:30 on WTIC News Talk 1080.
30 seconds.
Connecticut paid leave was
Thank you.
great.
I got to spend time with my son. I loved it.
Connecticut Paid Leave provides income replacement for eligible workers when they take time away from work for qualifying health or family reasons.
They just said fight your fight and don't worry about everything that needs to happen.
Most employers with one or more workers in Connecticut are covered under
10 seconds.
Paid Leave. Find out more or start an application today at ctpaidleave.org. That's ctpaidleave.org.
We are back. Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Back to the phones we go, 860-522-WTIC. Dave is in Windsor. Hello, Dave. You're on Reese on the Radio.
Hey, Reese, how you doing?
Pretty good, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to read that article, but those charges have been on there a lot longer than 2 decades. Let me
Oh, no. His report only covers those 2 decades. That was my tease.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, this started back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And for good reason, honestly. And a lot of these programs start for good reason and end up turning into something like this. That's I'm going to be interested to see what's going on. But, as far as the benefit of that program goes, it's been tremendous. It was put in place. Utility companies backed it because at the time they were looking for ways to mitigate the need to build more power generation.
Right.
And computers were just starting to come online, and they saw the demand starting to rise. So hence the energy rebate programs.
Mm-hmm.
And it benefits anybody's available for it. A homeowner, if they want to update their furnace, commercial customers updating their lighting, their HVAC, so on and so forth. It's been a tremendous program.
Mm-hmm.
It's been able to buy down the payback with that going into that fund. So it really has done a world of good as far as saving energy goes. And again, the utility companies really supported this to mitigate the.
But why did it go? But with that, Dave, why did it go south? I don't know. It's like anything else. That's why I'm interested to see the article. It should. Right.
You know what? This is the exact reason why good programs are ruined.
Yeah.
This is the reason why. This is and also great to have somebody do the investigative reporting on this and bring it to light, so they can solve this issue. Because again, it's a good program.
Yeah. And I think, what it is like, unfortunately, when you get a bureaucrat involved in something that's good, and then they look at like how much money it generates. And I think this is indicative of just bureaucracies. You find out, well, you know what? There's this particular program has extra money in its coffers. Is there a way that we can use that for something else? And immediately they start fleecing that program. And we've seen it in other places. Look at what they've done to Social Security, right? Its original function has now been balkanized by bureaucrats. And why? Because, again, it was only there to serve one purpose until it gets too much and people see money. And if you've never run a business, which is a big problem with bureaucrats, they've never run a regular job in their life. They've never had to work a budget or even run a company or run a business's finances. They've never done it. All they see is zeros. And they find, how can we use that money to benefit another program? And what do? They end up fleecing it and then corrupting it and then making it worse. Why? Because it's business as usual. It's the status quo. And I love this thing when they start saying, well, you're going to cut the program. No, we're going to stop fleecing the program and we're going to leave it here in this way You don't turn it into a bureaucracy, and then when you cut the bureaucracy, call it a budget cut. It's ridiculous, and that's sort of been the way we've seen it, or government operate as of late. And it's unfortunate, but thank you, Dave, for the job. What was the guy's name? And I want to say his name is, his name will come to me when I'm least thinking about it. But he was at the White House podium during the Trump administration. His name begins with an M, and he was talking about a cut when he was talking about the budget. And the reporter kept calling it a budget cut, and he said, "You guys call it a budget cut because the budget for that particular program is supposed to go up 5% each 3 years or every year, whatever the case is. If we decide that the budget is not going to go up that percentage point, you guys call it a budget cut. The only thing we're saying is that it's not a budget cut. We're just not raising the budget on that thing. You guys call it a budget cut so you can demonize it in the news media. That's what they're doing. It's like it's not a budget cut. We're saying we spent $100 million last year. We're going to spend $100 million this year, and we're not raising the cap on it. And we're just doing the same. That's where the Washington or the City Hall language gets a little screwed up. Back to the phones. Let's go to Betty in West Hartford. Hi, Betty. You're on Reese on the Radio.
Well, you're good. And I said to a friend I wasn't going to call you tonight, but I was going to say to you, non-techie me, I was going to say I could hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
Lori from Glastonbury could hear you loud and clear. So it would just be a delayed. She'd talk to you, she'd hang up, and then you respond to her. But you solved it.
Yeah, we did.
And no, dear wife, to Reese, I'm not making bologna, I'm making spaghetti tonight. But I am so pleased that you have this guy on, and I'm trying to let everyone know. And I don't have the strength of some people that I've heard about who write to the utility company and say, I have never taken the public utility benefits. I'm not going to pay this.
Right.
What I have done is I've written out to the electric company what we owe. And then on a separate check, I write the public benefit whatever and say, what is this? Is this a tax? And so there's going to be a paper trail that the state of Connecticut will not like. And God bless you for Mark Finch. And I wasn't supposed to call today.
But no, I'm glad you did. Like I said, this was one of those stories that I knew I was going to have to dig into, especially after my conversation with Bob Duff. I knew that I was going to have to get into. I was going to have to get into the weeds on this one. And Connecticut Green Bank kept coming. Every one of my searches breaking this down. Connecticut Green Bank was a huge part of it. And again, as I started to investigate it further, it's a lot. I mean, it's worse than I thought. It is. It's far worse than I thought, and it's nationwide.
Not very pretty at all, is it? And I have a lot. We all listening. Yeah. And by the way, I miss Mark from Windsor, who talks to Pastor Will and says, hello, 1080, audience. I really missed that. God bless you, Reese. And I wasn't supposed to call because you had many people calling in, and I don't know how you handled it. I am not a techie. I'm just going to call.
I tried.
I was just going to say to you, the reason I was calling, I'm talking over you, was to say I can hear you on my radio, and I can hear the people calling in. On my cell, it gets fuzzy, but you handled it.
That's okay. We ended up working it out. Thank you, Betty, so much. I appreciate you.
God bless you. Good night.
Eric, thank you. Eric is in Rocky Hill. How we doing, Eric?
Hey, Reese. I have the same last name as you.
Oh, okay.
Not that you care.
No. I'm not. I love it. My family's from North Carolina, so it's nice to hear another Hopkins in the area.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Actually, my father's side is from there.
Okay.
I just want to say, without, the government obviously has its hands in everything. They regulate things. Even commercial ambulance is considered a utility.
Yep.
Their profit is, they're only allowed to profit so much,
right,
based on whatever factors.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you from what I know, there certainly seem to be stricter with like an ambulance company versus the big powers of electric company.
Sure.
But I feel like we're at a point in time, and because the government helps regulate this, clearly our government knows about inflation. Clearly they know people aren't getting raises every year to match that inflation. So clearly they know people like me, we barely pay our bills. We barely get by. It's week to week. We can't pay all our bills. We're trying to put food on the table. I mean, our government's out of control. I mean, they're just sick.
It is.
And you know, and you know what we should do? I think everybody should stop paying their electric bill. Because guess what? They're not going to turn off the electricity. They're not going to turn it off on themselves.
Listen to me. Here's something. Eric, listen to this. This is the most important part.
Sorry.
And again, you just captured what my conversation with Bob Duff was, and I'll tell you. Bob Duff, that conversation with Senator Bob Duff went off the rails for one reason, because I thought, at least I got the impression, that this guy was seeing what everyone else was seeing, and that we were going to get a bipartisan action by legislators. There was going to be no red this side, blue that side, Democrat this side, Republican that side. That Connecticut nutmeggers are paying too much. This public benefit charge was obviously going to hurt people in a real way, in a way that was absolutely detrimental to them, and no one was going to play politics with this. But when he immediately started going towards the Republicans did this and Republicans did that, I recognized one thing. They don't care about anything unless it makes them look bad politically. So if that's going to be the auspice, if that's the way in which they operate, we have to make this look politically bad for them, because otherwise they're not going to come to the table and fix this. That's why when I found Mark Fitch's article, I said, let's get to the bottom of why this is going on, how much money people are paying, what's really going on with their money. And once they hear that, once they hear what's happening, the legislature will have to go, all right, now we're coming to the table and we're going to have to fix this, and let's get politics out of it. And then we'll finally get this resolved. Otherwise, it's for naught. That's all.
Great job, Reese.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Paul the Chemist is in Enfield. Hello, Paul the Chemist. How are you?
Hello, Reese. How are you?
I'm great.
Okay. There's the public benefits charge, and then there's the transmission, because every time you put wind turbines in the middle of the ocean or you put solar panels in a field, you cannot drop the electricity into delivery. You have to drop it into a inverter and put it up in the high voltage lines. So your transmission charges have been creeping up too.
Exactly.
Because the ratepayers are paying for that. And in addition to that, they've got a new thing out that I just read about. I don't know the initials for it, but they want to hook up all the transmission lines and charge the ratepayers and the state of Connecticut for all the transmission lines for these wind turbines. And never mind the fact that the wind turbines are not clean energy, because if you investigate the materials used for them, you will find that not only are we going to have glass fibers in the ocean, but we're going to have benzene in there because you use phenolic resin to glue the glass fibers together, and that is simply a benzene compound with a half a water molecule hooked to it.
So in essence, it only ends up all of this quote unquote money saving that we're alleged to have in the future with this renewable energy will do exactly what Barack Obama told us it was going to do, only cost us more money in the end, right?
Exactly, and as solar panels with Barack Obama and wind turbines and more panels with Biden, it's simply to keep the Chinese economy afloat, because we're not supporting our economy. Oh, and by the way, you asked about the guy with the white hair. That's Mnuchin.
Yes,
Steve Mnuchin.
That's it, Steve Mnuchin. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Can we take one more? Yeah, shoot, we can take one more. Let's go to Jim in Willington. Hello, Jim. You're on Reese On The Radio.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you what. Any policy that demands after a certain number of years that you have to rely on wind and solar as your primary source of energy,
right?
When you already know that the wind doesn't always blow and the solar doesn't always shine because of clouds, etc., and at nighttime and everything else,
Yep.
And you want to sit, and then you have to put an infrastructure in place, like your last caller just said, and then support that. And we know solar changes about every 6 years as far as the panels and the technology.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we're talking about batteries for cars, batteries for houses. The battery technology is changing, and who pays for all of it? And who pays for it?
Exactly.
Where is the well? And I brought this up on your show once before.
Yep.
When you have Eversource or whoever that's supposed to provide power, how is it that they're allowed to pretty much almost bankrupt themselves in terms of the money they borrowed to go out and put windmills up in Long Island Sound? And the last time I checked, any hurricane will knock any one of those down. Any one of them. And I'd love to know what the percentage of failure is on those just generally due to lack of maintenance or no maintenance at all. And what is the maintenance on those
exactly
on those towers?
Yeah, good point. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you. Let me play this audio real quick.
Are you still there?
Are you there?
Okay. Looks like I lost you.
Yeah, you did. Let me play this Obama thing before I go to a break. I've only got 2 minutes. Thank you, though, Jim. Listen to this. This again, Barack Obama talking about energy costs.
Yeah, regardless of what I say about whether coal is good or bad, because I'm capping greenhouse gases, coal power plants, natural gas, you name whatever the plants were, whatever the industry was, they would have to retrofit their operations. That will cost money. They will pass that money on to consumers. Under my plan of a cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket.
So it wasn't like he didn't know. It isn't like they don't know. Electric rates would necessarily, not inadvertently, necessarily skyrocket. It's not talking about an incremental rise. That's what's happening. When you do this about face on how we produce energy in this country, the about face costs people about face finances. They don't gradually bring it in. This is where the nonsense comes in. Liberals, again, you got to hear them again. This is your messiah.
Yeah, regardless of what I say about whether coal is good or bad, because I'm capping greenhouse gases, coal power plants, natural gas, you name whatever the plants were, whatever the industry was, they would have to retrofit their operations. That will cost money. They will pass that money on to consumers.
That's right. Forcing them to change, pass that on to consumers. And then after?
Under my plan of a cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket.
And did anybody cover that? Did the news media cover that? Did the news media, The Economist, flip on him about that? Not one bit. Not one bit. Got a stone cold pass. I don't know. I got two things that I got coming up. I got the debates on the 10th, and then I got Mark Fitch's article coming out on the 15th. This is going to be a great September. I said that facetiously. Forgive me. I'm just kidding. Let's get into the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. We'll get to your phone calls when we get back. Hold on. There he is. All right. Now we got it going. Let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Well, good afternoon. If you're heading into Hartford right now, 91 southbound delays 34 down to 32 A and B, and again 27 to 28. The northbound side of I-91, that looks real good. Cromwell through downtown up into Winter. Westbound 84 tied up just after 56 off to 45 Flatbush Avenue. If you're traveling 84 eastbound, delays
I'll be right back.
Before 46 is an avenue into the tunnel.
Okay.
384, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound running a little slow between 5A and B in East Hartford. 9 northbound. Got slow traffic now in Middletown, 22 up to the Irrigoti Bridge, heading toward Waterbury. 84 westbound, a little slow, 22 into the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound, Danbury slowing by 5. 84 eastbound in Newtown, some tight traffic, 10 to 11. Southbound Parkway, look out for an accident between 64 and 63 on the Wallingford North Haven line, backing you up there. And 95 southbound New Haven, tight 46 to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
clouds and occasional sunshine the rest of this afternoon. High 82. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight. Low 63. Tomorrow again, more clouds than sun with a high temperature near 80. Looking into Friday, mainly cloudy and humid. A high is 78 degrees. It'll be turning hot and humid this weekend. For Saturday, morning clouds giving way to afternoon sunshine at a high up to 96 degrees. The heat and humidity will continue on Sunday. This is meteorologist Bob Larson in the WTIC Weather Center.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
WTIC is 99 and kicks off a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC-FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The evacuation has been lifted at Quinnipiac University in Hamden. That is where the student center was cleared out following reports of a pipe bomb earlier today. Officials did a sweep of the area and no device was found. A 14-year-old suspect is now in custody following a shooting today at a high school in Winder, Georgia. Shots rang out at Appalachia High in Barrow County. 4 were killed, 9 others injured. The deceased 2 students and 2 teachers. County Sheriff Judd Smith.
Obviously, the shooter was armed, and our school resource officer engaged him. And the shooter quickly realized that if he did not give up, that it would end with an OIS, an officer-involved shooting. He gave up, got on the ground, and the deputy took him into custody.
Smith says it is still very early in the investigation, and they're still trying to sort this out and figure out a motive. Vice President Harris in New Hampshire today reacted to the shooting.
It's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive.
State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection released the name of the man killed in a boating accident Monday night near the mouth of the Connecticut River in Old Saybrook. Westbrook resident Christopher Hallahan was 34. He and 8 others were coming back from Block Island when their vessel hit a breakwall. 6 were injured, 2 are still missing. Matthew Lynch is the Old Lyme harbor master and says special equipment's being used in the search for the missing.
It's sending out sonar waves out to the side, and whatever bounces back, it's going to give you that shape. So if it's rocks or anchors on the bottom, we should be able to see.
Audio from WFSB. With residents in Oxford still recovering from last month's historic flood, the town's public schools are set to open Thursday, a week late. Transportation's been the main issue, with parts of routes 34 and 67 and smaller roads still closed. So bus routes will be altered. Superintendent Dr. Robert Miller describes phase 1 of the opening,
which is the use of community stops. So we found locations throughout town that parents can bring their children to, and they'll bring buses back to at the end of the day. And parents that don't want to use the community stop will be dropping or picking up their children directly from school. So the normal school routine is altered significantly.
And Miller says the damage is such that some students still can't leave their homes or access transportation.
We still got Ralph, Armand, and Frank, right?
He says his excitement for the
Correct
has been tempered by the fact that so many in town are still hurting. Attorney General Merrick Garland addressed election interference during a press conference today, and he pointed the finger squarely at Russia.
We will be relentlessly aggressive
in countering and disrupting attempts by Russia and Iran, as well as China or any other foreign malign actor to interfere in our elections.
He says the Justice Department is seizing nearly 36 internet domains that the Russian government and others are using to launch a covert campaign. Dow was up 38 points on Wall Street today. Nasdaq was down 52, and the S&P lost 8 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Men, when addressing the erectile,
Are you doing the 5 o'clock focus?
specific medical situation,
not
because
particularly,
every case
'cause
is
I'm gonna do
different,
all these phone
finding the
calls,
right
and
treatment can mean
I've
the
only got
difference
2
between
minutes on
just
this
an
one.
okay experience.
Okay.
Amazing one. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and at our practices, we offer the full range of ED treatment protocols and can even combine therapies to help make those intimate moments special, both for you and your partner. At Northeast Men's Health, we're the leader in treating ED in the area. Our medical providers specialize in men's sexual health and understand that no two cases are alike, which means you'll get the right treatment for you based on sound medical evaluation and appropriate applications of medical therapies. Plus, we offer treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most men, you'll get your sex life back. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices in the Northeast to serve you.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
All right, everybody. Just make sure you stay on the line. We are going to get to you in a second. I promise you we'll get to you. And that includes Ralph in South Carolina. Armand is in Avon and Frank in Woodbridge. Just stay on the lines. We will get to you momentarily. We'll sort of push back the 5 o'clock focus because I do have a weird question that involves my Facebook page. But in order to get to the Facebook page, you're going to need to go to resettlerradio.com. Okay, so hear me out. I know that people are saying, oh, I'm leaving Facebook. I'm going to Instagram. All right, go. I like Facebook. I just always have. Okay? I just do. Maybe it's because I'm old. Whatever. I love it when the kids say that to me, too. They go, oh, you're old. You like Facebook because you're old. Yes, I am old. Yes, I like Facebook. Are you trying to shame me? Good luck. We don't play that around here. I define cool, not you silly little crumb snatchers who can't figure out what gender you are. But I like Facebook. And if you like Facebook, like me, just go to researchradio.com and friend me on Facebook, right? And then, you can tell me about stories. You can send me a private message if you want. Hey, Reese, blah, 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 blah. Or, hey, Reese, I hated your show yesterday. Whatever the case may be. By the way, I love the hate mail more than I love the nice mail. I don't know why. I'm a curmudgeon. I'm a glutton for punishment. I've been married 4 times. I really like that kind of stuff. But anyway, just send me a message. Go to resettlerradio.com. Resettlerradio.com. Again, you can Facebook. I'm on Rumble, you can hear the show. But I want to ask, in the 5 o'clock focus, I'll get into it. I'll explain what the 5 o'clock focus is in my Facebook page. Because I notice a pattern of something that's happening on my Facebook page. And yes, it's about me. That I'm trying to understand. And maybe you can help me understand. But we'll get into that after we get into your phone calls. And then after, of course, we get into the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Mark, are you... Well, wait until there it is. Mark Christopher, are you a social media guy? And if you are, what's your go-to social media?
I don't do a lot of it, but Facebook.
You like Facebook?
Well, I know how to use it. The other
right.
Instagram, the other stuff, I don't really know how to use.
Exactly. Listen to me. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's easy to navigate. That's what social media. That should anything online or computers. That's what should be the template to make you use it. Easy to operate. You don't get a lot of user error. Right?
Right.
That's how it is. So I was wondering if that was, if you were a Facebook guy. Maybe it's an age thing. The kids like complicated, but then again, they're a glutton for punishment as well. So what do you expect?
Well, they've been using computers since they were born.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean, I wasn't introduced to like a computer, until I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, when did the internet start? Early 90s. So
yeah,
by then
early mid 90s.
I was already late 20s. Late 20s at that point. So, yeah, I want it simple, man. I don't want to be messing around.
Exactly. Facebook makes it simple.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I use it. I mean, and I don't do a lot of it either. I post maybe once a month, maybe if that. But
Oh, then you got to listen to me in the next break because I'll explain to you exactly. You'll love the 5 o'clock focus today, just for what you just said. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Reese. Good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound side of 91, tight 33 down to 32 A and B, and again 27 to 28. If you're traveling on the northbound side of 91, that looks good. Cromwell through downtown up into Winter. Westbound 84 slowing just after 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound slowing a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 291 through 84 okay east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound is tight Middletown from 22 up to the Aragoni Bridge. Looks like an accident northbound on the Wilbur Cross Parkway up by exit 68 N&E in Meriden, slowing you down there. If you are heading into Waterbury right now, look for a little slowdown westbound from 22 in Waterbury into the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound's a little slow by exit 11 in Newtown. Southbound on the Wilbur Cross Parkway, we have an accident between 64 and 63. So that puts it on the Wallingford North Haven line. So look for some delays going through there. And if you're heading down in toward New Haven right now, 95 southbound, you've got tight traffic 46 to 43 in West Haven. 91 southbound delays 4 in toward the 95 interchange. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC.
All right, as we head through the evening, clear to partly cloudy skies tonight. Very comfortable. The low down to 53. Then another beautiful late summer day on tap for our Thursday with mostly sunny skies. The high of 81. Another great day Friday with a mix of clouds and sun. The high of 78. Now rain returns as we head through the afternoon on Saturday. Mostly cloudy, that high of 76. Periods of rain into Saturday night. Then on Sunday, the clouds giving way to some sunshine. So Sunday looking like the better of the 2 weekend days. A little cooler, though, the high 72. Mostly sunny, very pleasant Monday. A high of 74. Right now, Mansfield at 77. Granby at 81. It's 79 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
1 minute.
Is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for,
Are you doing phone calls first before getting the focus, or are you coming out of the?
I'm going to take phone calls now. So everybody who's there, Ralph, Armand, and Frank, if they're still there, I'll take them.
Yep, Alter, right there.
You got
still
it.
There.
Is it? We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Columbia Implant Center in Manchester offers the leading edge in technology, which allows for dental
10 seconds.
Start to finish in one day. From a single tooth replacement to complete reconstruction, we do it all. Call 860-730-6020 or ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio. Filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We are back, and it's all over the place today, but that's okay. I like I said, I love it. It gives me an opportunity to just fly by the seat of my pants. I miss those early days of radio. All right, to the phones we go. Let's get into them real quick. I've got Ralph in South Carolina. How we doing, Ralph?
Great. I have a story. If I got a couple of minutes to tell you.
Well,
and I think
sure. I can give you two.
All right, every one of your listeners, I think you're going to find this interesting. I had surgery yesterday.
Okay.
And I had to spend the night. And my RN was from Kenya.
Oh, wow.
And he's been an RN for about 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his wife are both RNs. And they applied to come to this country. And he told me that to get here, he had to provide all his educational documents and his wife, hers also.
Right.
Excuse me. And also they had to provide their work histories. All that had to be provided.
Mm-hmm.
And they would if they were to get a visa, and the visa was for 10 years, and after 3 years you could apply to become a citizen if everything, you were a good American.
Sure.
And he said that the way they do it is they are so checked out. In other words, they do a background.
They get
check.
vetted, right? They're vetted very well.
Right. And he said that if you applied to become an RN in America, there's 5 or 6 countries all looking for them.
Wow.
He says, but America is the only one that allows you to bring your family with you. The other countries, Great Britain, he mentioned New Zealand and a couple other countries, you've got to wait 2 years.
I do know that. That's an interesting thing. I do know that to be true. Australia in particular, that it takes 2 years. I had a stepdaughter who had a spouse from Australia, and she had to wait before she was allowed to go.
And I mean, what I found interesting, and I think your listener, well, you should know that all these 2 people had to go through to get into this country. And they have skills that we need badly. And he even said engineers, they're looking for all kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
And they have employment agencies. He said there was like 5 of them a few years ago, but now it's about 20. Trying to bring all those skilled people over here.
Well, you know what?
The
good part is, Ralph, is that at least we know there are some organizations that are looking for people who are skilled workers in fields that we don't have people applying for work here. It's not just, bus boys and maids and things, you know what I mean, of the things of that nature. Nothing against that industry, but at least, looking for doctors or medical practitioners and things like that. At least there are organizations that are, from what you just said, that started as 5, and now there are 20 organizations that are working to get people, in those fields into the country.
The thing that you got to be totally vetted, but if you come over the southern border, they don't even ask you what your name is.
Right, exactly. They don't even care.
That's the scary part is, like I say, this is the nicest guy.
Mm-hmm.
They're black, of course, but they're just the nicest people. They got 2 kids. His wife works in one hospital. He works in the hospital that I had gone to. And, I mean, just the nicest person in the world. And
but that's the kind of immigration story that you want, It's like that.
That's what I said to him. I says, we need people like you in this country, not people who cross a river or jump over a fence.
Indeed. We've seen it. We've seen where that's gotten us. Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate the story. Let's get to Armand in Avon. Couldn't be more alliterative.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great, Armand. How are you, sir?
Great. I'm glad you're chasing the green bank, and Mark Fitch is the right guy to get on the case.
Okay, so you're familiar with him.
I'm the one that brought up the green bank to you.
That's right, exactly. You were the first one to mention it. You said to pull that thread, and I immediately did. And as soon as I started looking it up, as soon as I found him, because I don't know what it was. Let me tell you this, Armand. If I can give you a little background on this, when you mentioned it to me, I went looking for articles about the green bank. I didn't find any, and then weirdly enough, I went on another computer. Right in front of me. I went to another computer. And then I typed in the green bank, and Mark Fitch came right up. I have no idea why, but it was weird. One computer, nothing. Another one, his article popped right up, and I was like, that's strange. I did the same exact search, no change, no different iterations of the sentence, and I found it, and I found the article, and then I started reading on him, and I was like, oh, I knew there was something about. So then I started going down that road. What you didn't tell me was, and you only wanted me on the Connecticut Green Bank, was I started looking up whether or not there were any videos or like Zoom calls on Connecticut Green Bank. But I ended up opening up a can of worms that is vast because this Green Bank thing is everywhere.
So let me give you some more.
Yes.
Okay. So you mentioned that they spun off a finance company.
Yes.
And I was aware of that. Now, what's interesting, and I don't know if there's anything here or if there is, but I'm going to give you some more information that maybe you can chase.
Okay.
So the head of financing programs at the Green Bank, one of the executives, is Mackie Dykes.
Okay.
He's the husband of Katie Dykes, who was head of the Connecticut DEEP.
Okay.
Okay, so they're connected. Now, the question I would ask is, if they do the financing through that organization they spun off from, is that financially beneficial to Mackie Dykes, or if it goes to a third party, is it not? So I would try and get Mark to answer that question.
Okay.
And then I would identify the compensation programs for the executives in the Green Bank.
That's
and post that to the public.
Can you do me a favor, Armand? Is it too much for me to ask you to go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com and just go to my comments?
I don't use media.
You don't?
I'll send
Okay.
an email. I used to send Todd emails.
Okay. Send it. You can know what? You can send the email. If you don't use that one, I will give my email to Justin right now. He'll put you on hold and he'll give it to you so you can send the email directly to me. Okay?
So chase that one, and then this is the next path. Chase all the quasi-public agencies, starting with the one that was taking care of the pier in New London, which is the Connecticut Port Authority. Then go after the Capital Region Development Authority, and then go after Connecticut Innovations. There is dirt everywhere and huge waste of taxpayer money.
Get all of that to me. I want every bit of that. I just sent my email to Justin. Justin's going to get that to you, and I await your email. And I'll correspond with you back and forth, because again, like I said, this is just one of those things that I've kind of sunk my teeth into it. Now that I'm finding more and more, this is like, and I agree with you, Armand. I think this is dirtier than we know.
Well, this is the rabbit hole, Reese.
Yeah.
And you got to go down it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Armand. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to Frank, my good friend in Woodbridge. Hello, hey, my paisan. How are you, sir?
You know, Reese, I know you and your listeners might find this hard to believe. I've never been on TikTok or Facebook.
I don't find that hard to believe.
I never emailed anybody. All my life had to remain in the shadows.
I believe that.
And that wasn't my choice. That was my family.
See, even Justin knows to play your theme music when you come on. Even Justin knows. You're infamous.
But that's the best way to be, though. To remain in the shadows. You're not doing the things you're supposed to.
I wish, you know what? Hold on. Let me tell you this. You can bring that down, Justin. Let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you a quick story, Frank. This will freak you out. I tried. It was when I was back in Boston. I was on the radio in Boston, and I said I was going to do a weekend off the grid. No cell phone, no cable, no nothing, no television, no nothing. Off the grid. The only thing I would take is public transportation. I wouldn't drive anywhere. I wouldn't go anywhere. I tried, and I'll admit, I lasted 18 hours. That's it. Started Friday afternoon at about 1. And I made it for a little more than all of Saturday. Not that long. And the only reason why I made it even 18 hours is because I slept for about 8 of them. That's
Right, but you're younger, though. You're from a different. How old are you? 52? 53?
I'm 55. Just turned 55.
All right, I'm going to be 70. So we came from a generation where this didn't exist.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll admit. Look, if you know, I think that this generation looks at our generation, and if not the generation before, and says, how did you guys get along when everything today is technological? And I look at my childhood in the 80s, and I went, you know, I never had to worry about phone calls. I never had to worry about, you know, it was like my friends would say, hey, were you home yesterday? I called you. And I was like, no, I was out with my sister. But nobody freaked out. Now, if you don't answer your cell phone when someone calls you, it was like, hey, I called you 5 times. You didn't pick up. And they freak out because they expect you to have a phone right at your hip.
Well, back then, people didn't call people. They stopped over your house. Everybody knew each other back then. You know that.
You know what my favorite thing is? I ragged on one of my friends about this. He used to do this on his phone. And by the way, if you do this, stop it. Stop doing this. If you leave a message on your voicemail on your phone, that's on your cell phone, that goes a little something like this. Hey, this is Jim. I can't get to the phone right now, but leave me a message. First of all, you couldn't be telling a bigger lie. You can always get to your phone. It's on your hip. It's in the room.
Right.
It's next to you. Please stop saying you can't get to your phone. This is the message that you should. Your outgoing message should sound like this. Hey, this is Reese. I don't feel like answering right now, so leave a message. Hey, this is Reese. I know I can see you ringing on the phone. I have caller ID. I don't want to talk to you in particular. Leave a message. I'll think about listening to it and possibly getting back to you. That's what you should say on your voicemail. It's just a tip.
I mean, certain people have to be in the public, but my advice is if you're going to become a very wealthy man in life and successful, the best thing is not to be in the public. Do what I do. Remain.
Be quiet. Stay. Look, it is I'll admit, I will admit this, and it is it's true, but I will admit it. I understand that I have to be in the public eye often because of this medium. It is how you grow, and the objective in this medium is to grow. I do understand it, but I'm like you, Frank, on that level. I am reluctant. Like, I got an agent recently, and I barely call him because I don't want him to give me, like, things to do. Like, I don't want him to put me on television because I'm like, I don't want to grow like that. Although people tell me all the time,
you're
going to be
enemies when you're out in the public.
What's that?
You make enemies when you're out in the public.
Right, exactly. Exactly. There's always someone.
In my lifetime, between two countries, I wouldn't be surprised if I talked to maybe 10,000 people. You know how many I probably met?
Yeah.
Maybe 100.
I don't listen. You are right. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's the reason why. It's like I don't. When he said, as soon as people start calling me, it's like, hey, can you do this thing? And I go, do I have to? And they're like, well, we need to do this.
And when you become successful, you make enemies.
I know, because there's always somebody out there, just a hater. There's just a hater.
That's
out
right.
There. I know.
So.
I love you, Frank. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Let's take, you know what? We'll take, I can't. I've only got a minute here. All right, guys, hold on for me. If not, call back. I got to get into the 5 o'clock focus. That's coming up in a little bit. I will get to that. Because again, I think it has to do with Facebook and all that good stuff. To tease it, let me just say this. If you go to my Facebook page, I usually post things that are happening in the world. I don't do a lot of personal stuff, right? I don't do, hey, I'm building a shed. I don't do things like that. Here's me having dinner. I don't do that. But I did it recently. Just recently. Really recently. And I did it with my wife. And the response was overwhelming. Hear me out. People watch the podcast and listen to the show when I'm on live. I can see it. The numbers are there. People, they chat and they, send me messages about the show when they do get to watch it. That's the reason why I post it. But nothing gets more attention than when I post personal pictures like me and the wife going out to dinner. I got to ask a question about that. So bear with me. I'm just going to ask. Why do people respond to that kind of stuff as opposed to the other stuff? I don't, like a picture of me and my wife at dinner, I almost feel like I post that for my wife so that my wife knows that I love her. Like, that, this sort of this proclamation of love that you have to give to your significant other. It's like, you don't post any pictures of me and you on Facebook. So I go, here, honey, here's a picture of us going out to dinner. And of course, everyone sees it like, oh, you guys look so beautiful. And they start running to. People respond to that. But the other stuff that I post purposely, no one responds. I don't get it. I don't know why. But is there a reason? Maybe I don't understand it. But we'll get to it in the 5 o'clock focus. For now, let's get into the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. There it is. Hey, Mark.
Hey, you want a lot of response on Facebook? Post a picture of your pet.
Yes.
And you'll get all sorts of.
Yes. It happens all the time. I don't get it. I post important stuff on my page, but it's only.
Yeah.
I post a picture of lasagna. Ooh, that looks great. I'm like, now everybody wants this.
Exactly. People love to post what they're eating. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
But yeah, put a picture of your dog or cat up there. It'll blow up.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
It's insane.
If you want attention, that's what you do. If you're heading into Hartford right now, if you're on the southbound side of I-91, this traffic report is being brought to you by Connecticut Mattress. And the southbound 91 slows from 34 down to 32 A and B, and again 27 to 28. Northbound 91, some slow traffic as you move up into Meriden between exit 16 and exit 18. After that, good ride 91 northbound Hartford up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slows approaching the Bulkdale Bridge out to 45. Eastbound 84 slows up half a mile 446 into the tunnel. 291 through 84 okay. 2 eastbound is in good shape. Glastonbury into Marlboro. 9 northbound slows 22 up to the Aragoni Bridge. Northbound Parkway, an accident reported up by exit 68 and an E has you backed up there to Miller Avenue. Also an accident southbound on the Parkway between 64 and 63 on the Wallingford North Haven line has you backed up almost back to 64. Behind that, South 95 New Haven slowing 46 down to 44, and 91 southbound delays from 3 down in toward the 95 interchange in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC.
Cloudy skies, cool and comfy with that low down to 53. A gorgeous late summer day for Thursday. Mostly sunny skies, quite pleasant with that high of 81 and light breeze out of the southeast. Friday, another gorgeous day, pleasant with a mix of sun and clouds, the high of 78. Now rain returns as we head into the weekend. Mostly cloudy Saturday, rain at times during the afternoon, the high of 74. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Sponsored by Connecticut Mattress, whose Labor Day sale is going on now.
Hi, it's Michael.
And Christine.
From Connecticut Mattress.
Temperatures are cooling, but the savings are still hot.
During the Labor Day sale, you can save up to $1,200 on Beauty Rest and iComfort Eco.
Plus, get an instant rebate up to $500.
Sleep better?
Feel better.
With Connecticut Mattress.
Hi, this is Eric Hogarth from Money Wisdom. Tune in this week and every week to learn more about how to strengthen your portfolio or how to create a 5-star retirement plan. Tune in to Money Wisdom, Saturdays at 8:30 on WTIC News Talk 1080.
And now, a WTIC News Update.
5:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva. The Student Center on the campus of Quinnipiac University in Hamden has reopened. It was evacuated for a time today after reports surfaced of a possible pipe bomb. Police and the regional bomb squad are handling that investigation. 2 teachers and 2 students are dead and at least 9 others injured after a shooting at a high school in Georgia today. 1 person is in custody, a 14-year-old. The shots rang out at Appalachia High, which is in Barrow County, about 50 miles outside Atlanta. The FBI and ATF are taking part in that investigation. Searchers have been in the water of the Connecticut River for a 3rd day, looking for 2 missing people who were on a boat that struck a jetty a Monday night, leaving 1 person dead, 6 others injured. The deceased identified by the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection today as 34-year-old Christopher Hallahan of Westbrook. Police in West Haven investigating after they received a call about an attempted armed robbery this afternoon. Police say they've been investigating in the area of the 300 block of Front Street where a handgun was implied. No injuries have been reported. Biden administration has announced criminal charges, the seizure of internet domains, and sanctions related to Russian disinformation efforts to influence the presidential election. And Boeing will attempt to return its problem-plagued capsule from the International Space Station later this week with empty seats. NASA says that everything's on track for Boeing's Starliner capsule to undock from the space station Friday evening. The 2 astronauts who flew up on Starliner in June, though, will remain behind and ride back with SpaceX next year. They were only to stay a week but got stuck after Starliner encountered thruster problems and helium leaks, and NASA judging those problems too risky for the test pilots. On Wall Street, the Dow gained 38 points today. The Nasdaq finished down 52 points, and the S&P lost 8. Red Sox baseball after the 6 o'clock news tonight. They'll wrap up a 3-game series at Citi Field against the Mets. 6:10's the pregame here. Yanks will try to bounce back from a rough loss last night in Texas. And in the Eastern League, Altoona takes on the Yard Goats at Duncan Park. 7:10 on the Odyssey app. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
Labor Day signals that fall is fast approaching. Apple picking, fall leaves, and chilly nights are on the horizon. With
I will admit, Carmela, that the Jenga video was good. I'm not going to lie.
families' home movies. Legacy Box is the simple, safe, all-inclusive solution for preserving your family's memories trapped on videotapes, film, even photos. After 10 years in business, Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their wedding days, babies' first steps, and family road trips. Just fill Legacy Box with your VHS tapes, film reels, or pictures. Legacy Box digitizes it all by hand right here in the USA, and then sends it back on a thumb drive or the cloud. Future-proof your recorded moments today so you can gather the family and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, they're offering 55% off. Go to legacybox.com/value to get 55% off. That's legacybox.com/value.
1 minute.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes,
10 seconds.
You're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man. Reese on the radio. We are back. News Talk 1080 WTIC. It's been all over the place today. I also want to make sure that I thank Mr. Mark Fitch of Connecticut Inside Investigators at insideinvestigators.org. Don't forget to subscribe to insideinvestigators.org so you can get that article when it comes out on the 15th so we can talk about it here on Monday. We'll get to the phones in a second, but I want to say 5 o'clock focus. I post a lot of important stuff, political stuff, here, there, and everywhere. I even ask questions. Hey, what's this going on? I even create videos and post online. Don't get me wrong. They do get, people do watch them. I think I posted that Obama video that I turned into a Donald Trump commercial, and I got a lot of hits. There was no response to it, but it was watched quite a bit. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I post a picture of my wife, and now I'm the most interesting man in America. Come on. All the people are commenting, oh, you guys look so cute. Oh, God bless you too. Don't get me wrong. I love all the, the blessings and stuff, but I kind of feel like I have to drag my wife out and put a picture of her on Facebook for you people to care. I thought you cared about me. I'm making this about me. Yes, I am making it about me. I thought that it's about me. But you know what? She is my better half. I know someone's going to say it. I know the lady's going to say it. She's my better half. I should show her off. I thought I was a trophy husband. It turns out that's not true. She's already commenting, calling me rude, and saying that, what, you don't want people to see me? Of course I want people to see you, dear. Of course I do. Anyway, to the phones we go. You just tell me, what am I missing? And should I put silly videos up? Do I have to put pictures up of pets? Do I have to do that in order for people to respond? Not that I just thought it was interesting. 860-522-WTIC. Jeff is in Marlboro. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Reese. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, great, man. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. So, anyways, my name's actually Marquis.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. For those of you who didn't listen yesterday, I posted a picture at Facebook, a story on Facebook where a gentleman goes to Chick-fil-A and he gets his order at the counter, and on the receipt, it reads the name Monkey. Well, when he complains, he videotapes him complaining to the manager, who turns out to be a black woman, and says that somebody put Monkey on my receipt as my name. When the girl asked him, well, what is your name, sir? He says, Marquise. And that's because, and the kid, who was an 18-year-old child, put Monkey instead of Marquis, and subsequently, Chick-fil-A they decided not to fire the 18-year-old because they said it was a teachable moment for the teenager, and it was just an honest mistake. So that's what Jeff in Marlboro is saying. His name is Marquis, which is so funny. But do you ever have to? Nobody makes that mistake with you, do they?
No, but I gotta believe if this person was a straight up racist, they wouldn't risk their job by doing that.
Exactly.
They probably just spit in the guy's drink, number one.
Right.
And number two, I know a couple guys with some pretty weird nicknames. I could even imagine one of them calling themselves Monkey.
In fact, I have a guy whose name is Jung, who calls himself, he affectionately refers to himself as Monkey. That's what we call him. Every time we talk to him, it's like, hey, Monkey. And he's not. Yeah. And the weird part about it is he's Mexican. That's one. And he looks Israeli. So I always call him ambiguously Israeli.
Ambiguously.
Yeah, you're right. Ambiguously. That's going to be a tongue twister for me. Anyway, go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
I thought that story was funny. I could see that. I could see that as an honest mistake. And plus, some guys like to go by their nicknames, and they got some pretty strange nicknames out there, you know?
They do. One day I will tell you what my nickname was when I was 15. Just not today. Maybe I'll tell the story tomorrow.
Right.
Anyway, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you. Adam's in East Hartford. Hello, Adam. How are you, sir?
Yeah, not a bad idea to put those videos up, but along with Frank, I mean, one area I'm different. I've sent emails, but I've never been on Facebook or TikTok, but I've heard that I've watched some TikTok videos, but I heard that once you go on Facebook, everybody and his brother tries to get a hold of you. That's what one of my brothers said. Is that true?
Well, I mean, I get a lot of people who send me notes, right? Like on Facebook, I get a lot of them, especially a lot of, like today, I got a lot of interview requests, which was something I thought was pretty interesting. Because it's like, it has to be an angle that I'm interested in. It can't be just because you want to get on, right? I have to be at least interested in what your story is. And I believe that in PR, because I've worked in public relations, and I worked for, if I'm going to name drop, which I rarely do, but I was a PR guy at a company in New York, and two of my biggest clients were Dionne Warwick and rapper DMX.
Yep.
And when I worked for them, every time I had to do something with them, I had to have a story to sell, not tell. The objective was, and that was the term that there was a phrase that I used to say, does this person have a story to sell? And what I mean by it's got to sell newspapers. It's got to sell magazine articles. It's got to sell advertisers. Because when someone promotes them on their TV show, they've got to say, we've got this person on there, and here's why you'll want to listen or watch this program. So when I hear these people, they reach out to me and they all want to do interviews, I keep saying, it's like, well, you might find your story interesting, but in order for it to really be interesting, I have to be interested in it.
Hey, one other thing, it's a little change of subject, but Clint Eastwood, when he went after the hoodlums, well, he did make a lot of black criminals look bad, but when crime's happening in the hood, there's nothing we can do about it, right?
Yes, there is something that you could do about crime in the hood. And this is the part where the rubber meets the road for me in these communities. You will often hear people in the inner city tell, when they're talking about police brutality or, police killings of innocent black men, you'll hear them say, hey, good police officers need to report on bad police officers. And if I were a police officer, my response to the community would be, sure, you first.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's exactly what I would say to them. You first. Because we don't have an altercation with you for no reason whatsoever. But you've got a problem in your own trenches, as it were, right? You've got drug dealers in your community. You've got gang members in your community. You have people being shot by these individuals regularly. And when you've witnessed something or you see something that shouldn't happen in your community that puts your family and your loved ones in danger, you don't report on them. So you want us to report on the bad actors? You first.
Look at the movie El Torino. 3 guys were going to rape one little girl, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Someone's got to step up. Right. Someone's got to step up and be involved. Now, your response to that could be, well, then we put ourselves in the crosshairs. Well, you know what? Not all of you. You have to set a standard for your community. Otherwise, you reap what you sow. It's either a community, because it can't just be a community when somebody in the community gets shot by a cop. It's got to be a community when an innocent bystander in your community gets shot by a gang member. Because we got to see the same enthusiasm on both ends. Because then there's credibility. There's no hypocrisy. That's the way I look at it.
Exactly. Hey, anyway, always a great show, and thank you always for taking our call.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you so much. All right. Now, only because I have to. Somebody sent this request to me real quick. So I want to respond to this real quick. Oh, okay. I don't know who that was. Someone said that I should put a disclaimer before I have him on. Okay. This is only for information purposes. Please do not take the advice of any individual on this program about any stocks and or bonds. On the lines with us is Joe Wall Street in New Hampshire. What's up, Joe? How are you? You called it. We got another dip after the jobs report, which the S&P is down 0.16%.
Yeah. Before I get to that, your title should be on Facebook, Trophy Husband.
I think I should. I believe that I should.
You should self-proclaim yourself the trophy husband going forward. I think you get a lot of traction out of that.
Maybe. So now the Dow says it was up. The Dow Jones Industrial says it was 0.09 up, but the S&P took a dip.
Well, it was very interesting. The price action today was yo-yo. It all started, the market was a little bit, it was down in the pre-market a lot.
That's right.
S&P was down 26, 27, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I was watching it most of the day, and because I'm invested now. I got the UVIX, and I got the short on the GameStop, which comes out next Tuesday.
Right.
And anybody out there wants to short GameStop for the earnings, don't wait till next Tuesday. They'll pull a fast one on you. They'll put it out this Friday and say they're losing a lot of money, and the stock goes down 40%.
Give me your theory on 11 o'clock this morning. So we're looking at 11 o'clock.
Well, that's the hedge funds. But what happened? What really happened?
Well, let me explain what I'm talking about for those of you who can't see it. So we're talking at roughly about 11 o'clock. The market reached 41,169. After that, it's all downhill, right? We see an entire, the dip goes precipitously. It's all downhill after that. Now, this crazy part is
the JOLTS report came out.
Right, exactly.
You know
the jobs report came out. I'm sorry, the who?
Yeah, the JOLTS, JOLTS. It's a quirky, unique report. It comes out every month. And it's people that quit the workforce.
That's right.
That's the L in the JOLTS, and the O is people that are applying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a weird report, but it's self-reporting from all the businesses around the country. They get all the information, and it came up far short of what it was expected.
And then that's where we see the dip, because it took we're talking a dive.
Had a revision in last month's JOLTS report. revised 200,000 jobs less than what they had reported last month. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
So all of that came out, and then it was down. Now, what I saw happening 3 times after that, it went way down, but then it made these comebacks.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of hedge fund money coming in spurts of 15 minutes was incredible, trying to save the market from another yesterday, and they were successful.
Yeah, but by 0.09%, though.
Yeah, the last surge of money came in the last 15 minutes of the market because the S&P had gotten back down to 23 negative at 3:45.
Right.
But then the hedge funds jumped in, and they were successful. But they can't be doing that every single day.
No.
You know, they're just hoping that people like you and me say, well, you know, it's not so bad. Let's get back in there.
The interesting part about what you're saying, Joe, is if you look at every one of the other, like if you look at the S&P, the NASDAQ, all of those numbers were down, right? The Dow Industrial was the only one that went up, but only by 0.09%, as I mentioned. But everywhere else was down.
Yes, if you wanted a true comeback from yesterday, all 3 of them would have been in the green today.
Yeah.
And modestly so.
Right.
So, you know, the bear is on. I think tomorrow's going to be another today, but more so. I don't know if there's any reports coming out tomorrow morning to, you know, alter it. But Friday morning at 8:30, that's the big one, the August job report.
Yeah.
And I think they're expecting 160,000 to be added. Now, going back the past year, they're always expected 225, 275. They really revised their expectations down. They're looking for about 160 now. You could end up with a negative, you know.
I was going to say that. I was like, what if we get
lost 50,000?
If we see, what if that number comes out at 150,000? Because you're saying 160. I almost feel like that number is going to be lower.
That's what I think, and I think the people behind the scenes already know it.
Yeah.
You know, the people that really run the market, they already know. You know, they may not know the exact number, but they know if it's going to make or, you know, expectations.
Yeah,
and they already positioned themselves today.
Yeah, there's a lot of temperature, if you will, on what that's going to be. Yeah, it's an interesting.
Yeah,
note.
People like you and me have to be lucky and stick with something and go with the trends. But the people that control the market, they're the ones that only make money. They short, like me, they'll start shorting big time when they see the writing on the wall. They'll start shorting and the market tanks.
Yeah, yes, indeed. All right, Joe. Well, we'll wait and see till tomorrow. Well, I guess we'll wait until let's wait until Friday. In fact, let's wait. You and me. Let's get together Friday at the end of the show because, of course, when the job number comes out, we'll see exactly what the market's doing, and you and I will talk then.
That job number is going to move everything. Frank and Woodbridge is going to move gold up or down, maybe down, and silver and commodities. It's going to move everything up or down. It's going to be big.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the Trump rally tonight. That should be a good thing to watch because he's been out of the limelight for a few days, which isn't like him.
I think he should have taken. Look, you know what? It's funny because he didn't go campaigning on Labor Day, which is odd in some cases. You know, for Donald Trump, like to not take advantage of a day like that because it's kind of an American holiday, and you kind of expect Donald Trump to take advantage or to seize that date. But I'm glad he took. You know what? I'm glad he took a break because you know what? It was one day without a lot of the Kamala Harris, Donald Trump back and forth. You know, everybody kind of had a break on that on that level. So it was a nice break in my view. But thank you, Joe. As always, man. We'll talk to you Friday. Okay?
Bye, you, Vix. Bye, you, Vix. Take care.
All right, buddy. All right. Rolo says, I'm going to have to quit my job to watch you now. I'm sorry. You can watch me at work, okay? Just put me in your ear. If you go to Rumble, you don't even have to be watching me on screen. You can just hear. Just put a little earphone in your ear, right? Just do that. You know, that's all you have to do. Just put a little thing in your ear and just do your job. It's easy to do. Anyway, so tomorrow, what's tomorrow's show? Thursday, right? So Thursday, we don't have anything. I want to get into, that's what I need to get into because I didn't play it today. I will play it tomorrow. I have been talking about this since I want to say the election season began when we had the Republican primaries. And I was talking about Vivek Ramaswamy. And a lot of people were saying Vivek is this, Vivek is that, blah, blah, blah. I told everyone that Vivek Ramaswamy has to be a press secretary. He's got to be, in my view, press secretary. Every time I say it, I keep hedging. I keep bringing back. I keep going, maybe not. No, he should be press secretary, but a different kind of press secretary, okay? He should not just do press briefings at the White House. He should be on the stump everywhere. Every time a Trump policy needs to be explained to the American people, every time someone is on TV arguing about a Trump policy, Vivek should be the guy out there as the official spokesman for the campaign to go out there and tell the American people and the news media what the policy is supposed to do. Then when he gets pushed back, Vivek can respond, because I think this guy, if you ever seen this guy on his feet, who's just talking to people randomly, he's effective. I only need one video to explain it. And I won't play the audio here, but I'm going to ask you to look it up. I'll even post it on Facebook. Watch this video. It's of Vivek confronting Van Jones of CNN. And Van Jones was on CNN a while back suggesting that Vivek Ramaswamy was a dangerous man. He was making a lot of comments about Vivek Ramaswamy, suggesting that this guy was a threat to democracy, a threat to our way of life. And Vivek got death threats afterwards. But Vivek never went on news media and complained. He never went on television and admonished Van Jones at all. He waited months to finally confront him, and he saw him at the Democratic National Convention. And he walked up to him, and Benny Johnson, the blogger and talk show host, caught it on tape when he confronted Van Jones. And to watch Vivek explain to Van Jones how his words affected him and his family and put them in danger, it was so effective that Van told him not only at that time that I will call you privately, but right there, as Vivek explained it to him, Van conceded that what he said was wrong and apologized. That is the kind of communicator you need for any campaign. That kind of effectiveness, that he can explain his position and tell the guy right to his face. And Vivek's he's no big brooding guy, small guy. He can walk up to a guy, Van Jones, at least a foot taller than him, and confront him about what he said and what he did and how dangerous it was. The fact that, don't get me wrong, Van Jones is probably a horrible example of a tough guy. I mean, this guy cries at every chance. I call him one of the crying Negro brothers for a reason. He whines and cries every chance he gets. But the way that Vivek did it was so effective that Van had to concede right there. He didn't have to. He could say, hey, I'll call you privately. But he did. Vivek is that kind of guy. I say that because tomorrow when I play this audio, if you haven't heard it yet, I'm going to play this audio tomorrow at the beginning of the show. The way that he chops down CNN, because, by the way, they can't help themselves but carry water for Kamala Harris, but the way he chops this woman down, Kamala Harris, and her record is a thing of beauty. And it's the reason why Vivek, and he's not afraid to go on any of those networks, and I don't know why, but they keep inviting him because he makes all of them look silly, and I love watching him do that. It's the best. It's the best thing in the world. Anyway, it's time for me to get up out of here. I will be back tomorrow. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow. I'm taking my wife to go get cake. I don't no idea why I'm driving that far. It's 25 minutes to go get her favorite cake. I'm doing it. All right, let's get into the BPS Traffic Center with our good friend Mark Christopher. Mark, good night while I go drive my wife to go get cake.
Make sure you post that.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Stay good with the ladies in the listening audience. Make sure you
I didn't even think of that. I'm just right back. I end up right back at the Facebook thing. Right back at it. Thank you, Mark.
If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake.
A
Have
bundt
good night,
cake
Reese,
at that.
You're heading into Hartford right now. Westbound side of 84, slowing, approaching.
All right, you're clear.
the
Thank you, sir. I'll see you tomorrow.
Eastbound.
Thanks. See you tomorrow. Good show.
All right,
Right
buddy,
shoulder
bye.
between 46 and 48 downtown on the eastbound side of 84. After that, no problems out into Vernon. South 91 slows 33 to 32. Again, down by exit 28. If you're traveling northbound 91, you're going to see delays 15 to 16 in Meriden. Look out for an accident northbound on the Parkway by 68 N and E. Delays back to
All right, everybody. Thank you. Much appreciated. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, I guess this might turn into my regular gig. That's what it feels like. Okay. But you guys be good. I'm going to go get bundt cake. A $6 bundt cake. It's about that big. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. You guys be good.